Hello, and welcome to Zaxria. We are back for another night at the Nuts Around table playing some Dungeons and Dragons. For those of you that have been watching consistently, we appreciate the views. Please continue to come back. We are just trying to average the viewer count to get to affiliate status, and we are literally like 0.1 away from doing so. So just continue to watch, and hopefully you're enjoying what you're watching. And if you are, there is more content on the YouTube. There are episodes that you can watch. All of the VODs, all the way up to episode 55 are posted there. This here would be episode 56. There are also a podcast set up on there, and a Patreon, if you wish to support in any other sort of way sooner, is linked below in the Twitch. So again, thank you for watching. Now, picking up where we had left off last. You guys were still within Arkanoria in the Wizard's Reprieve, and started to make attempts at doing other things in the meantime while Connor was preparing to do what it is he originally was tasked with, I guess, by the Magisterium and the Arcane Sect here. You, continuing to study until you were prepared, Azrael, along with Moldrak, had left in order to find and seek out something that Azrael was after. He described it a little bit more to Moldrak as to what it was. He had told you that it is a demon, and that it is evil, and that he needs to find it. Unsure of exactly why or for what reason he even knows about it or knows where to find it is beyond you. But through some investigative work, after you guys left, you went to the Lyceum of Gilean, where you began to search and look for any sort of clues. You went and spoke with Corin Clydesdale, who was the merchant that you originally received the information about the Taken Serpent from, and that they were smuggling a lot of goods, finding their trade routes. But speaking to this individual, you were able to ascertain some information based on using the scrying mirror that you had used, that there was a town that had been built from the refugees that were originally from the original attack from the Dreadhand tribe. All those refugees that were in Teneveth and outside and within the keep had made a large community that created a town in the far southern west part of Ophelia that was called the town of Yendel. Yendel, you know, being the dwarven word for hope within the universe. You eventually traveled there after a few days, where you stumbled upon a pretty sizable farm town. There's a lot of acres of land where you can see people are farming crops and doing whatever. You decided it would be best, the less people knew you were here, the better, to do your investigative work, but you were encountered by an individual by the name of Jay, who had recognized Moldrak to be a keeper of Zaxria. But for the most part, you're trying to keep it on the hush-hush. Azrael, you did a little bit of investigating work yourself to find a small, modest kind of house that had the windows completely blacked out and blotched out with this black kind of viscous liquid. While doing that, while you were searching for it, Moldrak found a gathering of people. After a scream of a woman was heard, you ran over and found a set of bones, not a full set, it was just a skull and part of a spinal column that was brought and found by a dog. You followed 3 hunters that were in the kind of community or town, if you would, for a little distance before you were pretty much beckoned, I guess you would say, from Azrael to come and see what he had found. You guys burrowed underneath this house in order to get into the inside, where you got into an extremely dark and dank and very smelly interior. The walls were covered, not completely covered, but splotches of this dark black, almost stomach acid blood mixture that you saw was covering the windows to keep any peering eyes from seeing on the inside. You also saw the floor itself had little bits of this blood splattered on it, and on the wall on the far side next to the bed there were several of these trophies, if you would, of these skulls tacked to the walls with this spinal column hanging down, and then beneath that a pile of bones that were associated with the skull and spinal column. A very unsettling sight. You took it upon yourselves to try and investigate further and find wherever this creature could have went, the creature that you know by the name of Zayraka. You found a track that was leading west towards the river and followed that to where you found one single track that seemed to be curving into the river, that you were taking it upon yourselves now to follow the river until you found, I guess, seemingly another track leading out from that, or trying to find it as best you could in any sort of a way. While you guys are doing this, Connor had finished the spell Astral Displacement through his studies and teachings, had found his way to Adrixir and the sect, the only individual there being Tregadier and Adrixir. They're essentially here keeping you safe. Your material body is being kept safe by them. You laid down upon some sort of a elevated platform of these rings where you were inside of the council chambers of the arcane sect. You closed your eyes, and your vision didn't fade or blink. It was more of a sensation of you being pulled forward to a completely different place. It felt as though your very being was pulled from your body, and all you're surrounded by now is a darkness. It's filled with bits of silvery light, and what you can feel behind you is an intense heat. You glance back very quickly to see the sun. Bright, and you would imagine that the heat itself would probably burn you if you were in your own material form. You are floating atop what appears to be absolutely nothing but dark sky. Beneath you, above you, and all around you, there are silvery glowing rocks. One of them begins to make its way towards you when you put your hand up, and you watch it stop right before you, this kind of gaseous piece of space rock, if you would, that appears to be a star, and you move your hand around, and the rock itself seems to move with you as though you have some form of small influence over the things here. And then you push it behind you and watch a trail of light splash behind it as it shoots across the sky. A burst of light above you gives way to the vastness of the place you have found yourself in, as a comet flies through, across, and beyond into a deep, deep void of space. You are floating, weightless. Time feels to pass ever so slowly. There is no ambience of pressure, wind, and only the very faint heat of temperature you get from the sun, and there is no sound. Just a beautiful, endless void of cosmos that you feel a strong connection to. As you gaze upon everything, the bright light that's coming from behind you gets blotted out. It doesn't get, completely blocked out. There is this faint little bit of what seems to be something long and serpentine that seems to block it out. You can almost feel a presence around you. The sun being completely almost blocked out at this point, you turn and see a different source of light. A blue, kind of silverishly purple ambience that is just glowing off of the large creature before you. What you can see is an eye, probably cities large. You can see past that, for what appears to be forever, a long, long, long body of a serpentine, kind of dragon-like creature. There's a quick burst of energy, an explosion of purple and blues and silvers that almost shrink the form down to something you can comprehend more easily. You see now before you a large dragon-like head, easily 40 or so feet in width and length. The body behind it trailing a good 300 or so feet. It's this long kind of serpentine, similar to how Chinese mythology would describe a dragon, is how this astral dragon looks. You can see these long tendril-like whiskers that are coming from the sides of the face. They're this yellowish, almost sun-like energy. The eyes themselves are this deep void of black with little bits of flecks of white speckles of stars within them. For a moment you stare, and you think to yourself, this is it. With probably a breath, the creature before me could wipe me from existence. But there is no aggressive action, there's no attack. There's just a presence that you can feel in your mind. Another star-touched sorcerer. Your magic is strong, but fading. What brings you to the cosmos, mortal?
was sent as an emissary from Zaxria, as the magic is fading from there, and so is the world itself.
Let Zaxria be swallowed into the void and never seen again. The world itself is full of magic. The power of the cosmos does not belong in the hands of mere mortals such as you. You're but a star in the galaxy I helped create. Your impotence has gone on long enough. The petty squabbles of man that cause the chaos and death so many of you crave to be a part of. War, murder, betrayal. Your kind seeks power, nothing more, with no understanding of the great beyond. The infinite font of power from the cosmos is something people of your ilk should never have had the privilege of processing. It's about time that it was ripped from your world. He slinks down a little bit. You almost see what would appear to be some sort of a breath as this just like almost constellation like Milky Way comes from the nostrils, like he blows a puff of breath out. Sits and stares at you.
I've come here because for what I am trying to do, and for what my group is trying to do, is to change that of the world. Stop the wars, stop the violence, create peace, learn from each other, learn more about the cosmos.
You'd be so naive to think you are capable, strong enough. The power you wish to possess and keep funneling into the world will only bring upon the demise. I only wish to see that demise sooner. Now it would please me to rip you from this space and time right now, but my beloved would despise me for eternity. And Roselia has always had a soft spot for the woes of love you have faded toward. You will have no pity from me, nor assistance. Another word from your mortal lips, and I will give you the fate, worse than death. You watch a small claw kind of come up before you, and there's just a brief bit of movement to it that is pretty reminiscent of arcane kind of somatic gestures that you yourself would do before you watch the bright kind of bluish purple and silvery light that is before you disappear into nothing, to where you're surrounded by nothing but a dark void. You don't feel your heart beating in your chest. You don't feel yourself breathing heavy. You don't feel a knot in your stomach, but you can imagine the sensation. Your mind races. You feel a bit of a slight headache, where you're surrounded now by nothing but darkness and a dark black void.
Okay. Is there anything I can make out?
Make a perception check.
17.
17. I'm also going to have you make an intelligence check.
We're gonna look, just in case. Okay, whatever. 9.
9?
Yeah.
Okay.
Straight intelligence, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You are surrounded currently by nothing but darkness, it seems like. There are brief bits of light that you can make out, and it's hard for you right now to kind of navigate and understand fully how it is that you're supposed to project yourself and, move around. The talking telepathically came pretty naturally, but moving around yourself, like it took you a long time just to turn a little bit. So right now you're just kind of moving at like 15 or so feet, like per round, we'll say, but you're like half movement essentially. But you're slowly pushing your form, this astral form that you have, through the space in this kind of very endless void that you seem to find yourself in. You can see, like I said, these brief bits of bright whitish silvery light that are popping up and kind of disappearing. But what you do see, excuse me, is what appears to be a string of lights that is, it's static. It doesn't seem to be moving. There is something to it that just keeps it wherever it is. You can see it almost, it's so far away that there's almost like this optical illusion to it, to where you're looking and can see in the distance where this light is, where it almost seems like it's moving around. But the only thing that really draws you to it is that when the kind of silvery lights that are blinking and appearing in and out disappear, that one seems to constantly be there. It seems from where you are right now worlds away, but that is the only thing that seems to be catching your attention.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to head that way.
Okay. For Connor?
30th.
Yes. It'd be the 30th. Alright. As you begin to push your form through the space, the star in the distance doesn't seem to be getting much closer, and you can tell that you're not moving very quickly either. To both sides of you and behind, it just seems like this endless void of just darkness. You kind of begin to appreciate it as well, and you can feel a strong connection to everything that's around you. The entire plane itself seems like it is fueling you with some sort of power, but you're not 100% sure exactly what. You just really feel like a strong, deep-seated connection to the place that you're from. You can see that you are getting somewhat closer to that, what appears to be string of stars in the distance. You start to look around at everything and can actually really appreciate the beauty of everything. There are faint little shooting stars that are appearing. You can see up to your far right, there seems to be some sort of, you'd imagine some sort of another galaxy that's just pushed up in the distance. So you can see this kind of swirling bit of stars that are all wrapped up into one thing. It looks like it's just so far away, but you can see little bits of the elements of it. You can see that there are moons that are sitting around, and if you look where the moon is and you're getting closer as you're pushing more and more through here, there are these two moons that are currently on opposite sides of one another, just like slowly moving about, and you can see what they're orbiting. You can see what you think to be a Zaxria. You look at it, and a lot of the continents are very reminiscent of what Zaxria would look like. And for a moment, you just kind of sit there and stare at it and start to realize how large it actually is. And you can see the sun that's way behind you has sort of like just this dormant, just sitting. It doesn't seem to be moving at all. But you can see Zaxria slowly moving, rotating slightly. For a moment, you look off in the distance to where the bit of stars are, I guess. And as I said, time itself, where you are, does not feel like it passes very quickly. Everything feels like it is just slowed down. Time doesn't even feel like some sort of a construct in any sort of a way. You're not sure how much time passes, obviously. As I said, the construct of time is very strange here. But you begin to approach much closer that string of stars. You notice now that that string of stars is actually a large form of something. You can see it slowly moving, and it doesn't seem to be patrolling or looking for anything. It's almost in this joyous bit of swaying and movement. You see another large astral dragon. This astral dragon is much more of a pinkish purple hue. The body itself is not nearly as immense and large as when Aram-Nakan originally introduced himself to you. But you can see that this dragon is much more of a slender kind of look to it. It's much more welcoming, and there is a beauty to it, as opposed to this large intimidation factor. Nonetheless, it is still a force to be reckoned with, and something that is a bit intimidating, but you're almost drawn to it. You begin to float further and further and closer to it. You see this large, pinkish purple, what appears to be worm-like creature that doesn't have any sort of features or like a facial feature, like no eyes, no mouth, nose, there's not a tail or anything. It's just this long pinkish purple worm that is like floating through space and just disappears past in front of you. Once it completely passes, probably only about 100 or so feet now, you can see the large astral dragon.
I start heading towards it. Well, still, but head up towards it, actually.
As you get closer, there is a faint hum, almost like a sound. It is a bit melodic as well. You can hear it coming from the source of the creature. The large dragon is kind of floating upside down and serpentinely moves, and then goes around in a circle and comes back, and then begins to swim, like kind of swim through space, if you would, slithering about. Seems to be enjoying the space that it's in and embracing everything around it. You can see by the way that it carries itself that it has an appreciation for things. It doesn't seem to be distraught in any sort of way. Doesn't seem to be angered. You watch it float about. Probably only at this point 20 or so feet, and it doesn't seem to have noticed you. You watch it go up, upside down, and float right above you. You can see this purplish blue, scaly form. There's a little bit of like spiny processes on the back, but they're in this astral kind of image.
It's kind of just, I guess, almost mesmerized by it at this point. Not really thinking a whole lot. This is like the first, like, Connor knows how like vast like the astral plane could be and stuff like that, but it's very different actually being here and experiencing this stuff.
Yeah.
So he's kind of just like in like no words almost.
As you are here, speechless and watching, a moment or so passes before you watch the large dragon take notice of you. At first, when you notice that moment where it has taken notice that you are here, you are a bit like, shit. But then you watch almost a smile or a grin come over the face of the large dragon before you. You're assuming this dragon to be Indrelzelia. You think that the information you probably received on Indrelzelia is a little inaccurate. Indrelzelia appears to have very like feminine features to the dragon itself. You can tell that it's female. She floats up towards you, probably a good 40 or so feet from your face. Like I said, her head's probably only about 10 or so feet wide at this point. You can see as she started to get up to you, her form was like kind of shifting and shimmering a little bit and shrinking down. Before my very eyes, a mortal. By the stars, not just any mortal. You've been kissed by the sun and stars. Given a gift you cannot refuse, and damned to a fate of love you cannot unfurl. She spins around you slightly and then back over to the front, where you watch two arms from the sides peer up as she rests on them. What brings you here? What do you seek?
The world Zaxria that I come from is slowly losing its touch from this plane, and we're losing our magic. Parts of the world are going to start falling apart. I can't control it.
Why have you come here then? What do you seek here?
If this is the place that can funnel that sort of power back into the world and keep it from imploding on itself, this is the only place I could think of coming to.
So you mean to tell me that the reason that your world fails is that the cosmos are no longer funneling power to it?
It's the only thing I can think of.
Ramnakan must have sensed something in the cosmos that has burned a rage in him. Have no fear. My beloved can be quelled. He is always so bent out of shape with the woes of man and their emotions, but he himself is more emotional than any human I've ever met. That's why I love him. How much do you understand of your origin?
Not much. There's only 2 other people that I know of, and one knows less than I do. So, very, very little.
Now this other that you speak of, is it a she?
One is, yes.
You have a fondness for her? Or at some point did?
At some point in time, yes. Until some strange occurrences had happened that forced me to think in other ways.
No. Well, this may be what Aramnakan is upset with. You're bound to one another, and you do not know it, but the stars have fated you to be each other's muse and defeat. The power that you possess is a product of several different elements of magic: the sun, moon, stars, and all of the astral sea. Aram and I, Luntari's divine magic, Heliod's divine magic, as it fuels the sun and light, and Gillian. When my love and I contribute, we don't just contribute magical power, but the power of our love. A magic stronger than any other, and it trickles into every bloodline of cosmological sorcerers and sorceresses that are born on Zaxria. Now, at random, but very rarely, some of this magic slips through the cracks and a child is born or gifted at random. But for those that are blessed with the power of the cosmos and the love that Aram and I share, you are fated to one another, and grave consequences occur when your destiny is denied. You must have done something on Zaxria that tore that bond between you and that which you are fated to, causing Aramnakan, the great star, to be filled with rage.
Sir, any way to quell this rage?
What you must do is simple, yet complex, full of joy, yet teeming with sorrow, bursting with lust and full of loathing, something I love, love itself. Aman and I have been in love for eons. Time stands still and lives pass by, but at the end, it's always him and I. Gillian long ago tapped into the power of the cosmos, a place full of power. Goddess of the moon, Luntari, god of the sun, Heliod, are the only deities that draw power from here and funnel their divine magic into the astral sea, fueling the fabric of energy that holds the blanket over the universe, and many like it. When Gillian's keen intellect ascended him and his abilities, he spent a lot of time here, learning more and becoming more powerful. He also spent a lot of time with the deities of the cosmos, and gained much from them. Knowledge, power. But he gained much more from Luntari. They began to grow quite fond of one another, almost as if, regardless of consequence, their love was too strong to break, as if they were fated to one another. Now I'm sure that if you yourself are a cosmological sorcerer, as I can sense that you are, then your parents must both have been as well.
I'm not sure. I've never met them.
I'm sorry. It is a both beautiful and tragic thing what becomes of us. The love that you share with the person you're fated to, as I said, will be both your muse and your defeat. You're inspired with love and passion. You learn so much from one another and become so powerful, but the power only lasts for so long, and sometimes these people are torn from Zaxria or wherever it is they are and returned here to the astral sea. And she takes her claw up and kind of like swirls it around to where you watch thousands of stars just swirl almost in a tornado. They return to this, forms of pure cosmological energy, stars in the sky. Now, as I said, what you must do is simple, yet complex. A big part of why me and Ram do what we do is for the love of it. We see all of it as our children, and I'm assuming that he is angered by something. He can sense it much stronger than I can. If you and the only other person you know are to be the last of your kind there on Zaxria, then he must think that there's no more need for the cosmos there, if you are to be the last bloodline. Do you understand what it is you must do?
I have a pretty good idea of that. Thank you.
Of course.
I'm going to...
She puts her finger, her claw forward. But before you go, this was left here. She takes her claws and holds before her, seeming tiny, probably about this big within her claws, but it's about the size of a book. Reaches it forward. This was left here by someone similar to you.
I reach forward.
She reaches it and pushes it towards you. As you look at it, you begin to kind of flip and can see that the book itself is the third and final volume of the compendiums. It is a little more dense. You can feel the book itself slightly hum with magic. We have no use for it here. I'm sure you can find use of it.
Thank you. This place is so amazing. I'll have to come back here one day.
Truly it is.
And as I say that, I cancel concentration on the spell.
Alright.
People that are responding to fuck out of here.
As you do,
Ass off. See?
as you do, the tether quickly brightens up with this bright silvery, almost metallic looking shimmer, and then you feel your form get pulled right back to your body. With a deep breath, you come to at the table, holding your hands at your side. Your heart is racing. You can feel that pit in your stomach. You're breathing kind of heavy. You are in almost a bit of like adrenaline. You're feeling a little sweaty. You feel up toward your forehead. There's a bit of sweat that is there. Are you all right? Adrixia is standing before you now at this point.
I think so. And I wasn't able to fix what's happening, but I think I will be able to.
Is it anything we can help with?
I don't think so. So, there's some things that have angered the Aramnakan, and there may be only one way to quell that anger, and that's definitely not something anybody else can help with.
Very well. I can see the look in your eye. You're pretty sure of what you must do. If the sect can help, let us know.
Thank you.
Where did you get that? You're currently holding the compendium.
I was gifted it from one of the dragons, Andrelzelia. I spoke with her.
Oh. Oh, I thought Andrelzelia was male.
The Great Star is, not her.
Well, you've been out for about a day.
Time there doesn't pass as you think it would. I've traveled through so many places there that I can't even think about it. Longer distances than I've ever seen. Stared into the sun, looked over Zaxria, traveled the cosmos. It was only a day.
I was worried for a moment there. But glad you're alright, and glad we have at least some form of a solution.
Yes. Does Arcanoria run on this sort of power?
Not really. There's not much here that we deal with cosmologically. A bit of levitation magic is derivative from moon magic that is used in cosmological sorcery, but for the most part it's all strictly arcane.
Let's hope nothing else happens in the meantime. Because I think this could be bigger than just the stars and the sun. For all we know, Gillian could be involved in this too.
It's been a long time since he's been here. I hope if he has something to do with it, that he's at least trying to help.
I sure do too. But like I said before, this is something that I need to go through with myself, and I don't think anybody else really can help me with it. Am I still on like the table thing?
You're pretty much like
Kind
hands
of,
behind you.
kind of sit up.
All right. Well, and then he leaves.
I hop down onto, I guess, the regular table.
Yeah.
So it's like floating above it and jump off onto the floor.
As you get down, Magister Madrixir, I myself am going to help. There have been new discoveries. There's a pylon that was discovered in Azeron. I'll be leaving first thing in the morning to go and research it a bit more. I was reached out by the council there. The Republic has called upon me, so I might be gone for a bit of time.
How are you going there?
There is a very private channel of teleportation magic that leads to there. The sect is only aware of it due to the relationship that we've held with Azeron and helping them with their isolation, if you would.
Okay. It's just... We were always told that there's really no way to get there, so I was just curious. You don't have to delve into something you don't want to.
I am sorry, I wish I could give you more information on it, but
It's okay. I'm sure if they want us there, they'll reach out.
if you need to be there, they'll find a way. Thank you again, Connor.
Of course.
It's a lot more, means a lot more to us than you think. I'll leave you to it though.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm sure you might feel a little tired, even though you seemed like you were resting, but it's been about a day. You may feel drained. I'm sure it's normal, but you're a smart man. You can take care of yourself.
Yes. Thank you.
Head to the reprieve. I'm sure your friends are waiting. Ender was here a couple of times asking for you.
Sounds like something he would do. Alright. And I hop down and head out.
Alright.
Head towards the reprieve.
Alright. The last day, the three of you, or four of you, sorry. Oh, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. You're good now. For the last 4 days, or not 4 days, sorry. That would be for you guys, please. But for the last day, it's actually been a few days where you guys have still been up in Arcanoria, waiting for Connor to do what it is he must do. You have had the endless amount of drinks and food that you could have, so you've been pretty content with it. Moldrak and Azrael left. You tried to go with him, but he had said that it should probably be a little bit more discreet, so you were a bit left behind.
I'm guessing. Well, that was
You are
reprieve too.
you are still here, yes.
I have
All
a cup of ale with
yeah.
my legs up.
All four of you are here, sitting and
Just
waiting.
chilling.
I went with them. They didn't see me because I was hiding behind one of them,
Yeah,
so I can do that.
But you know that Connor had went to go and confront the astral dragon that he'd been speaking to you about. Ender probably got a little worried in that first day when he left. You went a couple of times, asked how he was doing, and had pretty much been pacing, waiting for him to return in the
You
reprieve.
know what's funny? I was gonna say, yeah, it was just a pacing.
But the door opens up. Everybody that's walked in, there have been like 3 or 4 people that have walked in, and you're just like up, and they kind of back up. But this time you see Connor walk through. He looks tired, but he does look okay. Looks a little troubled on his face, but other than that, he is in the room.
Me and Zarva are
good?
having a drink off.
Did you do it? Did you do the thing you were supposed to do?
I did.
Was it like scary?
I don't even think Scary could really cover that
Was it?
immensely. There,
Did you fix it?
no.
No.
Oh, well,
So we just like doomed?
There,
you guys off.
there's. You're powered by magic, friend.
Yeah.
You're the
fine.
most doomed out of all of us.
Hold on, I need to make a call.
I need to go talk to someone real quick. Get on my knees, you son of a bitch.
Powering down.
Call me back.
You better answer.
Don't give me a Mitsu real quick.
There's something that I can do, and I think I know what it is.
Ominous.
But
Oh wait, I didn't even think about that. I'll die.
Do we have to go fight someone?
That's normally the easy way to go about
In a
things,
way,
but this one,
yes. I was
I
talking
think
about,
the only
like,
person
my
I'll be
divine
fighting
power.
with
I
is
was talking
myself.
about my life. Fuck.
That's deep.
I can fight you for you.
Please don't.
Like, what?
He probably win.
Oh,
Against what? The
he'll definitely
Astro
win.
Dragon. Or what? What?
What?
Are you here?
I was talking. I should have been listening. I should
You
have
get
been.
off the
Who's
phone
Billy?
call that you were on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say I'm the stupid
It's my
one.
nickname for my god.
Yes, but I think moving forward, we'll figure it out.
We always do.
I'll figure it out.
Is it like something we gotta do like right now?
Sort of, but not really. These
What
kinds
is
of
it-
things take
What
time.
does that mean?
He's so conspicuous.
Sparks start coming out of my fucking head.
So should we leave like now to go do this thing or?
I don't think so.
What is it?
Wasn't where's Muldrak and Azrael?
Going.
Oh, they were missing too.
They.
I didn't even.
Yeah.
I was too worried about you. I didn't notice they left.
I tried to go with them, but they wouldn't let me.
I was sleeping.
I was praying.
I don't really know where they were going, but it sounded like they might need some muscle. But they told me no.
I'd rather sleep.
They're two pretty
Literally
capable
straight
people.
Brick shit.
Yeah, Moldrak's not like the strongest. Actually, this is the funniest part.
I don't think he's the strongest, but
22 strength.
Push up challenge?
I think I'm
25
going
with this
to.
potion. No,
I
they're
think
gonna
I'm
do one
going
of
to
those-
eat something and probably.
They're gonna do one of
take a
those
rest.
slap challenges where they stand across the table from each other. Oh, he can beat me at that. He's got range. Exactly.
He's got fucking paws. They're soft as hell.
I mean, I
Tito
have
slapped you?
claws.
You don't want these claws.
I think
like
it might be
clowns.
cheating.
I just kind
If he can
of
range,
raise
I
up,
can use my claws.
Yeah, that's fair.
kind of just raise
can
up
use
my
his
voice a
claws.
little bit. His name's Jordy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey Jordy, can I get something to eat?
Yeah. Give me a second. It'll be right over. Anything else for you guys?
They have any cool like astral
more
snacks?
Certainly.
No.
Like a star
I-
sundae?
Like freeze dried ice cream.
The things that I could do there were crazy. I was able to stop comets and move stars. And I stared right into the sun. I was right next to it.
That's dangerous.
I also sent you
How did that
the
one?
link for the homebrewery thing for the compendium.
Oh shit! Check out the fucking. You shouldn't stare into the sun.
He grabs a large book and sets it on the table, opens it up, and starts to look at it.
Just- If you try to look at it, your eyes melt out of your head. Sounds like someone filling up a 5-gallon, like a.
If
metal
you don't know
5-gallon
this
bucket.
magic, you kind of die trying to learn it. So just a heads up.
Skip immediately just goes easy.
I want to learn all the spells in the book before Connor. Beat him to it.
We just hear
Roll initiative.
Andrew's head exploding.
Powering off.
Fuck. That was Andrew's head exploding.
Skip.
We ran out of magic.
Then turn it back on for me.
Yeah, the magic's run out. And Skip's just fucking dead.
The one on there isn't.
Is it fucking in?
Is it all fucked up for you too?
What?
You don't have a high enough
I can't sit by this guy anymore.
I don't think I can do this.
I had to deal with puns for almost 2 years. Now I gotta deal with this shit.
Whoa, dude.
Your
Your intelligence
puns.
ain't high enough.
Who was
There's nothing
Probably
wrong with
Devin.
puns, but the amount of puns.
Probably Devin.
That guy, man.
Is it on?
Oh, not Devin?
No, Jerry.
Darich?
No, Jerry.
Oh, Gary.
What about me?
The puns.
Told Billy I had to deal with 2 years of fucking puns, and now I gotta deal with this fucking guy.
Jared said he didn't want to say my name anymore.
I actually said the opposite.
Billy gave Jared a choice on where he wanted to say. He said not by Jerry.
That's always a good sign. It might be fucked up for one of the spells. The way that it's like the spacing. I think one of them, like the page is
Oh,
fucked up.
that's okay.
For me, it was. But I tried to.
got that far yet.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like off the page a
Yeah,
little bit.
I'll fix it later.
That's okay.
But I think you can still see the other ones, and that one's pretty straightforward.
Create sun. Explode mind.
Kind of the opposite.
Blow up Zaxria.
Get rid of the sun.
That's a convenient spell. Spirit bomb.
Possibility.
Collapse plane.
How about black hole?
Same thing. Ah, where's some plane of existence?
Oh. I expected that.
Also, the spot on there that's the like learning the spell spot.
Yes.
It should be changed. So I think the gold's increased and the spell, like the.
Yes, it's different from the last ones.
Okay.
Is it supposed to be different again?
Yes, it should be. It should be like it should have like titrated up.
Oh no, yeah, it did. It did. Okay. I just thought you're like, I'm gonna make a change right now.
No, that's
okay.
it.
Okay,
Should be
gotcha. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
It makes sense. Makes sense.
All right.
Horse.
Zarbrax, for you, let me pull this up really quick. As we previously spoke about, and you had expressed to me of trying to be connected more in any sort of a way that you could. So, Azrael keeps track of the days for the most part. So, we're going to start from the 30th, which would be yesterday. And I'm going to have you for the next, like, 10 days make a religion check every day.
Okay.
And then at the end of it, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
So I'm just keeping, like, keep that in mind. So, like, when
Okay.
we go to the next day, say I'm going to make my religion check for that day.
Yeah.
And then just keep track of them, whether it be on, like, a piece of paper or somewhere else.
So do you want me to make one right now, then?
Yes, I do. For yesterday.
Want to use the religious die?
That's your religion die.
It is
I think
my
it's like a
religion
lightning
die.
bolt.
Oh, you want? I gotta. Oh, those kind of work. In blue.
I'm not
You
using
can
that
use the
dice.
cute dice.
No.
Oh,
I can guarantee you roll a 20 with those.
that's a guarantee.
That means you're cheating. So
You got. I'm giving you the gold
Billy,
now for
watch
that.
out for this guy.
No, he's cheating
That's a
already.
14.
If he guaranteed me a 20.
Busted. Dude, I guarantee everyone 20s.
Here's the 20s.
These ones. I was thinking that.
I knew I could tell.
Yeah.
Yellow or white letter?
Going up, dude.
Low.
For a second, I thought he came in late over my foot.
He's actually sleeping pretty good.
What do I wake him up?
I'm gonna have. Don't you fuck dare! I'm gonna throw dice at you.
Warming the dice up. I do really bad with these, so
Is Kate here?
I need all the juju I can get.
Dog stomp.
No, she's not here. Should be here.
Good shake.
Here we go. Drop
This is a low
You
roll
got it.
after all this fucking work.
Wait,
Two?
dude, don't you get another one?
Well, after my fucking intelligence modifier, yeah, it's a 2.
Damn. Wow.
It's rough.
All right. Just like I said, track it somewhere. So we have.
First one was 2. I can help us cooking.
Guaranteed 20s, man.
Guaranteed, but he didn't use the pretty dice, dude. He used that one.
SMH.
I said it's only guaranteed with those ones.
Yeah. I use the candies too.
No, that's straight.
Oh no.
I can't really tell which way.
I think it's leaning like this way.
Now
Not
look
only
at the
very
line
slightly.
from the wood.
Just don't touch
Somebody
it.
about
It's
to get their
Yeah,
shits
I'm
rocked.
gonna be, if I touch it, it's gonna get worse because I can't really tell from my angle.
this picture. I
Andrew's pictures also.
haven't done it in a while. So I'm gonna
This is the second day, though,
just
right?
start praying, try to connect.
Make a religion check, please.
Two.
This is the second day, though, right?
Yes.
So should
Just
I
make
roll?
another one.
Give me the fucking shit. That sucks. I rolled the same
Okay,
thing
don't
you did.
do all the shit you just did. Just roll the dice.
Guaranteed 2s, I guess.
That's a 10.
No, I have a
Okay.
+5 in my religion.
It's 10
Holy
is better
night,
than
you know.
0.
You
Unless you're
almost
trying to
said
get
It's
closer
usually
to
like
0.
my best skill.
Before you skip,
Unless we're rolling divine
you
intervention.
are trying to.
Ten to
It's
zero,
been a
spit.
while since you.
Yeah, I'm rusty.
You've had a moment to try
Yeah.
and reach out. Now you guys have this moment where you are in a bit of a reprieve, if you would, where you can have a moment to take rest and actually reach out. There is something telling you that it is important to keep trying to reach out.
Yeah.
You have a feeling that you need to.
Yeah. Or I'll lose my feelings.
Holy fuck, the light on, bro.
Dude,
Turn the light off.
You're blinding
Hold on,
the audience.
Oh,
Hang on. Pickleberry's up.
he's probably gonna go out.
He's gonna go. Someone
All right.
catch him.
All right.
Hey, Brandon, can you take the dog out?
Catch him.
I'm muted.
Grab him.
Yeah. Call him.
Where's he at?
Please don't.
He's doing the two-step.
I'm trying to grab him. He's right
Stop
there.
being
He's
an
about
idiot.
to. I just said beagle.
Oh, yeah.
Kitty too.
I think
Good.
I muted Brian. Hang on. Are you mic'd up again?
Get mic'd.
I'm gonna wait till you
Good.
stop moving it
Sorcery.
around.
There we go.
He squished.
You're never getting that one. You might as well unmute it now.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry for that. Quick doggy issues.
You're
But-
still muted.
Forever.
You can say it now, though. Here you
I have a popo.
All right. So, as for Moldrak and Azrael, okay, should be here soon.
Black hole.
Black gold.
Nope, that's not.
That's oil.
Yeah.
I feel like the material component for this should be much higher.
What is it? A stick?
No, an obsidian rock valued at 200 gold.
Just to make a
We
black
have
hole?
not found an obsidian rock.
Yeah,
value
but you
of
can do
200 gold.
10d10 per round for an hour.
We're going.
And what level spell is that?
9,
How many 9th level spell slots do you have, Jerry?
0.
Oh, well,
One.
Yeah, we don't.
you one?
It still feels like the material
For
component
an
should
hour.
be more.
still has a little bit of a caveat. At
Does it? I didn't read the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I'd
You
read
gotta
that.
kind of read it.
Oh!
You get sucked into the black hole.
Yikes.
Big whoops.
Is it? It'll kill anyone that comes near it?
No, you get sucked into the astral sea.
You do?
And you start to suffocate because you can't breathe.
So you don't use that spell ever?
Well,
Do you just become a star?
I don't suffocate.
Sounds like you just become
how
a star.
close is it?
I'm gonna jump into it just for fun.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't suffocate.
Yeah, I don't breathe.
Yeah.
You got.
What's breathing?
Do you realize where you're going?
Yeah.
You're not coming back.
I'm gonna ride the dragon like a never-ending story, motherfucker.
Oh yeah. This is not a spell to use lightly.
Adventurers of Zaxria.
Wait.
We put it in the middle of the.
DC increases.
bad
Oh, I
guys.
didn't see that part.
Does it?
DC increases by. You could probably bump up that material component cost a little bit.
Does it take structures in with it?
Oh, there's more. Hang on, I
wait.
didn't read the very bottom part.
Does it take structure with it?
Anytime
Oh,
you
fuck.
cast,
well,
anytime you cast a spell, you lose your legs.
it grows 5 feet every round
Oh my
Grow 5
god!
feet every round.
Until it encompasses everything.
till he stops
lose
concentrating or
control.
dies.
Oh my god! Yeah, we're not using. Did he pee? Yeah. Sweet. That's what I was hoping for.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Give me.
Pass down the
dogs.
pup.
Puppy pass.
We have a puppy. Follow us and watch.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's why you follow us is because we have puppies.
Yeah, that's definitely destroying people's ears.
My mic is right there.
All right.
You're also not seen at all, Brian.
I know. I'm just like out here.
Is he actually not?
No.
Alrighty. So,
well.
Yeah, I'm not pretty
you guys are good. We're gonna jump over to Moldrak and Ezrael.
Got distracted by the compendium.
Oh yeah, those guys.
Currently, it is raining where you are.
Remember that? Sounds familiar.
Does he grow 5 feet? Is that what you said?
Every round.
You are now on the trail of what you believe to be is your current quarry. The sun begins to set down and night is quickly approaching. Rain comes down gently. The temperature has decreased a little bit. You can see up in the kind of the bank, the grass is not really this high this time of year. The tall blades of grass are roughly about a foot at most. Early spring here, you can see the flowers are beginning to bloom, beginning to give color to this kind of endless green that covers Ophelia. And your current is to pretty much head down the river until you see some form of tracks leading out, right? The ground here is not very easily traversed, and you're being mindful to follow the river while looking for tracks that may become apparent further down the river. If one of you would make a survival check, or actually both of you can make a survival check.
Let's see. Yeah, I have to see.
We got peed.
Related tracking this
Actually,
game?
+9.
Yes.
So I peed on me. Yeah.
The snow out there is a ton of, doesn't it?
We're not supposed to pee on the dog?
22.
22?
23.
23.
Nice.
Oh,
Alright.
whiny baby.
This is why it's not good.
Right up in
So,
front of you, your mic, Brian.
Following the river,
Not a bad idea.
you follow it for quite a while. You actually follow the river for what you'd imagine is a good 10 or 15 minutes. Excuse me. You good over there?
Yeah, I'm just
We're good.
muting
I'm just
everybody
making sure
but
that
us.
I didn't want to keep talking if I was muted or something. We're good? Okay. You have followed this river for about 10 minutes or so, and have now come to a point where you're roughly 80 yards from the bridge that leads to the other side, to Venore. What you notice is a set of boot tracks that leave the river. The boot tracks themselves are about average size, pretty easy to detect, and are reminiscent of the boots that you saw.
I'm gonna take
originally
my
leading
piece
to
of
the
paper imprint that I made and try and
Okay.
compare it.
It's pretty close.
Pretty close? Okay.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't
Very
exact,
close.
but
Yeah, it's pretty close.
okay.
You're imagining it's pretty reminiscent of that boot that originally led you to the river.
Okay.
The tracks appear to be heading east to the northern side of Yendel. At this time, once you've approached, with the overcast that there is and the sun going down, it has become quite dark.
All right.
The moon is giving light across the fields, very intermittently as the clouds are covering the moon. But when it does come through, it's like this silvery blanket, and you can see a faint path of where the tracks are leading. I'm only going to ask one of you to make a survival check now.
Do you want to do it? I mean, you're.
Still related to tracking?
Yes.
I'll let you do it. Feels right.
19?
Okay. It gets to a point where there are one set of tracks that you can follow for a good distance until you reach the road. When you reach the road, it looks like everything is just all it's starting to get wet. The dirt has turned into mud and is starting to kind of cover up the road itself. The tracks that were there before the rain don't seem like they have like seeded into it. They're almost seeming like the water is flooding a little bit of the road here.
As we move away from the river and get like further away, I'm gonna try and pick up on that scent again, like the decaying, rotting scent. Like maybe as he dries off, the scent comes back. I don't know.
Okay, you can make a perception check.
Okay.
But when you get to the road, Moldrak, you lose the track essentially.
Okay.
But you can see going back into the field on the northern side. You catch it. You can see Moldrak kind of walking to the southern part of it, like around where it is, to try to find where the tracks could be. He seems to be walking like both north and south, just on the road itself. not going into the grass. He doesn't seem to be like trying to look around, but you end up finding a boot track and just kind of bring his attention back to it to where you guys can start walking again through the field. It is difficult to see the tracks in the taller grass.
I muted everybody over there.
The grass itself is not like super tall, but you still are having trouble like actually seeing any form of tracks to like get you anywhere. What you got?
I rolled a 24 for perception.
Okay.
Say no. I must live.
That smell is
Really can't focus.
hard to detect. Right, if you want to, Brian, you can take him upstairs until Kay gets here. She probably won't be much longer.
So she's still at the glass window.
Fuck. She should have been here. Okay, but once you get to the spot where the boot print leaves the mud kind of dirt path and goes into the field, it's hard to see them, even for the both of you. You're more looking for a grass that's pushed over than you are actual like print in the ground. You are walking around for probably a good 20, maybe 30 minutes. The dark has come through a lot more. It's gotten to the point where the rain's coming down heavy enough and the clouds are covering the sky to where you can't see any light that's illuminating the grass itself. So it has become quite dark. You don't see movement really going across.
Can I create with dancing lights? I'm gonna pull out a piece of cloth. I'm gonna make one globe of light, and I'm gonna cover it and float it over towards Azrael.
Okay, yeah, you could do that.
Just so it's like a very dim light, but he can still see as we move through this space.
Got it.
I don't know if you would want me to do that, but it's kind of the only way you can walk at this point.
It's probably fine.
Okay. All right. At this point, the orb glowing, you can hold it and cover it if need be, but it doesn't like shed this huge bright light. It's almost equivalent to like a flashlight, just the way that it is, but like on a low setting.
Yeah.
So you can actually see everything around you pretty easily. You can walk through a little better, and like even if you want to, like reach it down towards the grass and open it up a little bit. And the light itself isn't like overwhelming to where like if you undo it, you're just like this huge beacon
Actually,
in the middle of the
I don't know if I
grass.
can affect the color, but I'm gonna make it red because it's harder to spot from a distance.
What does the
at-
spell
at
say?
night. Oh, I don't know.
I think it just said you're creating light.
Oh, maybe not then.
Dance it?
Dancing
Yeah.
lights, yeah. I don't know if you can change the color. Like
Within range, making them as pure as torches or lanterns. Or glowing orbs that hover in the air.
I don't know. That's
Yeah,
gonna
so
be,
if you want it
That's
to
up
be
to
like
you.
lantern light, I guess that'd be a better equivalent.
okay. Yeah.
Okay. Traveling this far though, and for the 30 or so minutes, I'm gonna have you make one more survival check for me. One person.
You want to go again? You want me to do
I
it?
guess you're leading now.
All right. $20.
20. All right.
Oh, sorry. It went up to 921.
Okay. You can tell that the path that you're following, it's pretty easy to see where it is, but you can tell that it almost gets a little bigger,
Okay.
as if its width, I guess, increased. Because you could tell it came from the boot print across into there, and now it looks like whatever was pushing the grass down before is larger than it was. It doesn't appear also to be bipedal anymore, from what you can tell,
Okay.
and it doesn't seem like it's like charging through.
Yeah.
Like it's not like trampled
Still
down.
carefully, like,
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
I'll in my head, and just to keep quiet, I'll say to Azrael, I think you changed forms here.
You inspecting it would kind of agree with the same.
No.
I'll lead on.
All right. You follow this path for 2, maybe 3 minutes before you hear a loud yelp and scream. It echoes through the grassy kind of moon-illuminated night. The rain dies down just a bit before picking back up. A chill runs down your spine, and you know that something's not right. The sound appears to have come from deep within the grassy plains on the northern side of Yendel. You can't really pinpoint exactly where it's coming from, but you at least know the direction. And the yelp that you heard was animal-like.
Should we go now?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
It's distracted.
Do you? You can use my eagle if you want to approach from above.
I don't know if I'd really be able to see it that well.
Oh, right. All right. Well, I'm gonna just try and either keep following the tracks or try and listen again and follow those sounds.
Okay, make a perception check.
Alright. Have I picked up on the scent again at all, or?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's not really, like, super potent or anything.
17?
17? Okay. You understand that you have to hurry your pace a little bit, and that is primarily due to the fact that wherever that source of that yell came from probably won't stick around for too long, you'd imagine, but something gives you a little bit of urgency to where you're moving a little quicker. You get probably 100, maybe 150 yards further into the plains. At this point, the town is behind you a good distance, but you're not like super far outside of it. You're kind of on the northern side of it where there's just large fields of grass, and you can hear what almost sounds like a yelling cry of a man just yelling help. It's just kind of, help, help.
I'm gonna try to beeline towards that sound.
All right. As you make your way in that direction,
Is that the speaker?
Is it like pitch black out where I can't see very far at all?
I just equate it more to like,
Like
there's a
moonlight,
beef,
low light?
yeah, there's a very brief bit of moonlight that comes through every now and then to where you get a decent sense of vision. You're not like blinded, but you can't see like beyond like 60 or so feet.
Could I go off on an angle from Muldrak?
Yeah, and
Kinda
be able
keep
to
him
just
in
see
sight,
him like,
but,
yeah,
like,
he's,
going a
yeah,
different way.
yes.
Do you want me to snuff out the light as you move? The small one?
Yeah.
Okay. Or snap and make it disappear. I can also put them on him to make it easier for you to see.
That'd be good.
Okay. As you get to the source of the yells, they're getting louder and louder. Help! 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 You.
Can I?
Yes.
Maybe this will sound weird. Can I make an insight check to
Yeah.
see if these are legitimate screams?
Yes.
Okay. 12 plus 9, 22.
22?
Yeah, 21. 21.
They sound genuine.
Okay, I'm gonna keep running towards it then.
Okay. As you begin to sprint in that direction,
Yep.
you come upon a small bit of a clearing. It only appears to be a clearing because of travel through it.
Yep.
There is a good amount of blood that you can see that is trickling. It's kind of there, you can see bits of it on the grass that's kind of dripping down, and you can see a man that you recognize that you saw, one of the hunter individuals.
Yep.
This one appears to be Jeb,
All right.
and he is currently holding in his arms the dog that seems to be like torn up.
Okay.
He hears you like walking up and grabs a sword and then like pulls it over towards you.
I'm a friend. I'm here to help.
It came out of nowhere.
Where did it go?
It ran that way.
I say in my head, like without missing a beat, which direction he went compared to where we are to Azrael.
Okay.
And then I'm going to lower my hands if he stops pointing his sword at me. I'm going to use my elemental mastery to try and heal the dog.
Okay. The dog is dead.
Oh, all right. Well,
You kneel down and push a little bit of water over it. It came out of nowhere. It was on all fours. It looked bony, and It had to have been whoever's bones those were.
Did you get a look at it?
No, not good enough. It was so fast.
Right.
Started galloping the way he said.
Okay.
I'm gonna go after this thing. You go back to the village.
All right.
Put my hood up and I take off in the direction that he said that he went. I'm gonna keep my eyes still on the field to try and, while also going in that direction, keep track of where the grass is trampled, and so I'm not running aimlessly in that direction.
Okay. Make a survival check.
Natural 20
All right.
for 29.
I need to change this music.
I thought the squeaking was creepy. Does this one have an eraser?
Begin to follow the tracks as quickly and meticulously as you can. You said you were just like trying to get there quickly. Okay. You can see the ground is pushed down a little bit, about the same width or so you'd imagine from when you think it would have changed form. You begin to follow that into a bit of a hill that has taller grass on it as well.
Okay.
It's a little difficult to see on the other side of it, but it appears to kind of crest up over that hill, and you can actually see to your back right where Azrael is moving pretty quickly through the grass.
Okay.
And you can see beyond him what appears to be another person. It seems to be a humanoid individual. Is probably a good 50, maybe 60 yards to his right, and he doesn't seem to notice that they are there.
I'm going to duck into the grass. I'm going to say to Azrael, there's a person on your left. They just look like a human, but be careful.
When you look, they look like they're running towards him.
Towards him?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna burst out of the grass from where I'm at and beeline towards Azrael. I have my returning hammer drawn, and I'm spinning it, getting ready to throw if it approaches Azrael.
Got it.
I'm just looking for it.
Okay. Make a perception check.
17.
17. All right. You can hear running through the grass. You can hear the grass shifting, somebody's footsteps hitting the ground, footfalls, and they're running in a bit of taller grass to where you're kind of standing, where you're going to be in a clearing of it, where they're coming from. You know exactly which direction they're coming from. You have a beat on them essentially.
Unholster the revolver. It's still icy, so I still have sleep. I'm gonna be ready to leap off the horse if it pops out.
Okay. Got it. From the clearing, you take and ready the weapon and get ready to aim it over towards where you can see the footfalls getting louder and louder. You're probably a good 50 or so feet away and trying to get there as soon as you can, just from coming down the hill. Bursting through the clearing, you see a human individual bust through holding a bow. They have a sword at their side. They see you there and just kind of almost go to draw the bow up. Who are you?
I have the gun pointed at him
Yeah.
when they come up.
He goes to lift the bow but stops.
Who are you?
Kane. I just heard a scream.
Came from the house back there.
Did you check it out?
Yeah, something got his dog.
Fuck. Kind
I suppose
yeah. Moldrake starts barreling down the hill. He draws the bow back.
You really don't want to do that.
Who are you guys?
Keepers of Zaxria.
Title card.
Stop swinging.
Takes the arrow out.
I don't have
Who are
time.
you? Oh no,
So,
I've seen you before. Were you with the hunting party earlier?
Yeah, me and my brothers.
So I don't have time for this and take off to keep following.
We're gonna go track this thing down. You should probably go back to your village.
That's what we were out here for. We got close, we thought, at least. I think one of us may have had the jump put on us.
Alright, well,
I heard a scream, that's where I was headed.
no offense to you, but even we may be out of our element here. You should really go back to where it's safe.
I need to go get my other brother, and then we'll go back.
Okay, are you gonna come with me?
Well, you told me to head back. Are you going back?
No. Is he back that way? I thought you
No,
said
he's further the other way, where I came from.
Oh.
We spread out.
Yeah, you go back to get him and you go back.
Alright. Will do.
You want me to come with you though? Or?
He kind of pushes through the
didn't know what
grass,
he was saying.
takes the sword out now, and is like walking over it as he's stepping out. You begin galloping and looking for some sign of wherever this creature may be.
Damn it, I was right on the trail too. I'm gonna
There.
take off after Ezrael.
Okay. He is a good distance ahead of you.
Yeah, he's faster than me.
He's on the horse. You get to a point, Azrael, where I'll have you make a survival check, coming from the direction that Moldrak was going.
21.
21, okay. You can see the tracks looked like where Moldrak like ran down the hill. There looks like there's some sort of path that tramples down and goes, it almost like backtracks to where, like kind of towards the left side. So originally, like you came upon where the guy and the dog was and started heading north more to where you got to that hill. Where this path is, it looks like it comes from the backside of it and back around. And you have just come upon that. Don't see any tracks or anything, you just see the grass kind of pushed down, appearing to be about the same width or so. Jump down from the horse and look closely as you can. It's a little dark and hard to see, but you can see that there's some sort of an impression in the ground. It's just a little difficult for you to make out.
See some impressions. They look like they loop back around.
Towards me?
Yeah.
Do I hear anything?
Can I get to like the highest point of this hill and like look around?
Okay, make a perception check.
I'm gonna cast See Invisibility.
Okay.
Uh, 25.
25? Actually make it with disadvantage, I'm sorry, because it's dark out.
22.
22? Okay. You can see, now that you're at the top of this hill, Moldrak is making his way pretty much right to where the paths intertwine, and you actually stumble upon it too, where that track comes back around.
Okay.
You can see to your far left where the individual you just came across is walking back to meet up with somebody. You can also hear him whistling in the distance. It's like three quick like whistles, like psh, 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 and then you hear it back a little further, come back to him before the two of them meet up and start heading back. The spot where you're looking, where you can see, so if you're at the top of the hill, where you were like following up the hill, that track that you were kind of on, if you look and can see it, you can see where it's coming up from and then see like that clearing, I guess it was, where you originally found the individual and his dog.
Okay.
Other than that, you need to make a survival check to see if you see anything more.
Fuck, was he the guy with his dog?
12. Or
12.
14.
14? Okay. Where you see the large clearing at, you can see that the guy isn't there anymore. He seems to be like slowly walking towards the village, holding something, it appears to be. You imagine it's the dog. But you can see the tracks coming from that spot, but you can also see on the opposite side where it looks like it came through. So like, just imagine like the large clearing, grass trampled down, inside of the clearing, you can't really tell where it goes, but then you can see a break outside of that to where you can see where it left from, if that makes sense. And then coming up the hill, you look back and down and can see where the hill is. Looking at the hill, The track seems to go down for probably a good 20, 30 yards before it loops back around and goes into the clearing again. And then you don't know where the tracks like leave out from there unless you go and look further, you'd imagine.
Am I on top of the hill at this point?
You're like at the middle part. You can see him standing at the top on the horse, like his silhouette is essentially right there.
How far is the top?
40 feet at most.
Okay. I'm gonna take a quick movement up there, and I'm gonna turn around and scan down the hillside with the invisibility.
Okay.
Do I have any reason to believe that one of these individuals could be him from shapeshifting?
It's a possibility. You don't know what it's done, but you definitely think it has the intelligence to do something of the like.
Would I know that? Would I have a strong suspicion that it knows that we're here and that they are following it?
Well, I would
Exactly
say
where we are.
the events that led up to this, you probably don't believe it knew you were here, but it probably does now.
If I quickly take out the rifle and assemble it, can I see those people in the scope?
You can see the two on the left, you see one on the left currently, and then the one that's walking back towards the village. You can see them though. Yeah. You get up to the hill and you watch Azrael like jump off the horse, get flustered, and start like assembling the scope. He pulls out a large metallic rod that he throws up, slaps a barrel to the top part of it, starts to like thread it into it, clamps back a stock and puts it on his shoulder and just starts like scanning the horizon,
As
looking
he's
at
doing
everything.
that, I'm gonna also be scanning, but I also tell him in my head, I think I may have told him who we are.
And they just take off?
No, but I think he may be one of these guys. I'm going to scan, see if I see anything invisible.
How far away are they from the town?
So from the town, you're probably a good 400 or 500 yards. You're a good distance outside of it. You can see it from where you are just because everything's so flat and green. There's like little bits of hills and stuff, but you can see lights in the distance. You'd imagine you're a good distance out. From where you are at the top of the hill, you're probably at most to the guy that's walking away, I'd say maybe 250 feet or so from him, and then the guy over to the left is probably approaching the 200 mark, but he's still walking in that direction because he's going after what he said was, he said he's going to look for his brother at the other side.
If you shoot one of them and they don't survive, they're not the monster. But if they do, easy touch.
I don't know about all that. Do I see anything?
You scanning, you see the same thing. You can see the individual on the left side. You hear him doing 3 quick like loud whistles, and then you can hear reminiscent to the far side 3 whistles again.
Okay.
That's the individual you told to go get his brother, not the individual with the dog. The guy that has the dog seems to be holding the dog and walking back towards the town, carrying it.
Use my demon sight looking through the scope.
Let me read the demon sight.
I'm going to toss down my statue, say Moldrak Jr., and I'm going to have the owl fly to the... Which one are you going to keep track of the single guy, or are you looking at all of them? I was just going to have him listen.
Looking through the scope, using the demon sight, you can see a faint grayish energy on the trail that's there. It's nothing crazy. It's something that you'd probably be able to see in your normal vision. You look down the scope at the individual on the left and can see that he appears to be normal. You look over to the guy straight ahead, appears to be normal. You'd imagine whatever sort of visage it put on, if it was one of these individuals, the illusion that it's using is a little stronger magic than something minor that would normally hide them. Usually like Arcanoloths hide themselves. It's a pretty minor illusion that you can see through, but whatever the bad bow is doing is a lot more sinister and powerful.
I'm going to say, if we let him get to the village, we're never going to find him.
I'd say I can take a shot at one of them.
Can you not kill them?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well,
One of them is
This
now.
one
The
might-
guy at the farthest is about 300 feet, and the individual on the left is probably approaching 250 as they're walking away.
from the village.
300 feet from you, like they're walking away. The one guy at the very far was about 250 away. At this point, since like the talking, assembling, everything, he's now hit about that 300 mark, or is inside of it. And then the guy to the left is walking, further east from you guys, looking for his brother over there.
Are you down on the hill, like prone?
If I can support it, I am.
Yeah, he's
I'm going
he's
to
he's ready to shoot.
Also lay down, and Muldrak
Switching
Jr.
right
swoops
to
down
that.
the valley,
Okay.
and he's going to fly very close to them. I want to see how they react.
Okay. Which one is he flying towards first?
I'm gonna wait until they group up.
Okay, they don't look like they're grouping up.
Oh.
Sorry, I might be it's a lot to try to take in. So you guys are up on the hill.
Okay.
The hill is to the northern part of the village.
Got that.
The individual that had his dog is walking south back towards the village, and then the guy that is going to find his other brother is going east. So they're kind of walking in different directions. So you'd imagine the guy that is over this east part will probably walk and then curl around this way. He'll probably hit the village at a different point and a little later. But you can see both of them right now. They're just like moving through they're completely oblivious to what is going on behind them on this hill.
I don't know if I want to do that then.
Yeah, if you don't want to do that, you can totally retcon it. It is getting to the point where they are getting further and further. So it's up to you if you want to hold off and.
How far open is this field? Is there like forests?
No, there's like no trees or anything. The closest trees are the ones in Venore. Everything's open, like you can see for a good distance.
The one going to the village, the one carrying the dog?
Yeah.
Do you want me to just knock them all out? I mean, I'm not going to be able to knock the Babao out, so we'll know. Unless he plays along, but I don't know how. I mean, he's.
Well, I'll know if I get close enough.
Hmm?
I'll know if I get close enough if it's him.
Do you want to use the owl? Probably faster than the horse. Well, that thing can fly too. Actually, the horse is probably. Is it gone? I thought he
Reset after 3 days, I think.
Yeah.
So you don't have it right now?
No.
Use the owl.
He'll have it in the morning.
It can get you. You can swoop past all three of them and see which one it is. You think you'll be able to do that? They likely won't even see you. It's quiet.
The guy heading south is probably about 360 feet at this point, and then the guy on the east has
If we're
disappeared.
gonna do it, we gotta do it soon.
I think you should just go for one, and I'll go for the other.
Okay. Should I go for the group of two or the group of one?
Say get the guy carrying the dog. I feel like he might be the least
Likely.
likely.
Okay.
This one might have to be off the books.
Well, I will take off towards the guy with the dog.
All right.
Starts racing right now. It's the other guy's about to leave sight.
He's like getting to the point where you can see he's getting smaller and smaller to where he's going to be at a point where you like will not be able to do anything. You can see the guy that is to the far side that you are going after. What are you using? Are you just running towards him?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a thing that creates a really loud. Well, I don't know if that would do anything. Say I can definitely attract the attention of all three of them.
If you want to yell for him, I guess maybe, but I'm losing sight. Maybe
I
30 seconds.
use thunderclap,
Mm-hmm.
which is just like a really loud sound, and hopefully will get them to stop moving, or if anything, move towards me.
Okay.
1 second, I'm trying. I gotta look up the spell. I think it's like 300. Maybe it's only 100 feet. Under 100. All right. Well, Thunder Wave is 300 feet. Is that a first level spell?
Yes.
I'm gonna use Thunder Wave, as I'm within 300 feet of both of them.
Okay.
If I can get there.
Moldrak starts sprinting down the hill as fast as he can, running towards the other individual. You take the hammer and start to like spin it,
I
and
slam
then
it into the
slam
shield.
it in the shield, and there's just loud wave that goes out. You have probably a 6-second window to where you see the guy at the far eastern side just like quickly pick his head up, and then the guy that's like heading towards the village, like there's like a brief pause where he just kind of like turns back and looks, and then starts to head back towards the village.
I think it's him.
Fire at him.
What's that?
Fire at
The
him.
guy with the
Yeah,
dog.
which one?
I don't want the dog.
Okay, go ahead and what's the range on your weapon?
500 short.
500 is a short distance? Okay, yeah, go ahead and take a shot.
I think it's a good call. And we don't really have much else to go off.
31.
31 definitely hits, and I'm going to have you roll damage.
Like we haven't
The
wiped out
ammo-
entire society.
All my ammo was blessed,
Okay,
so I blessed the whole bag.
okay.
If that matters.
Hang on a second.
You already lost him.
I know.
Toxic.
Poor man's.
So
dog and then get shot in the back.
23 piercing and 2 cold.
That's crazy.
Okay. Double all the damage you just did?
Yes.
46 piercing and 4 cold.
Alright.
Because it's a critical, because he's surprised at
You-
the human stuff.
Take the gun up, and you hear this loud, oh fuck, see that was the shot.
You hear this loud, oh fuck.
I yanked it down. After the shot goes off, Moldrak, you are running down the hill and have pretty much
These ones have
stopped
erasers. I'm
after
just
this
dumb.
very loud sound just resonates across the fields.
Mhm.
You watch the individual that's to the far side, like heading east, just fall over. You watch a splash of like blood.
Yeah.
And then you see this form kind of curl up to where you can see something on all fours, and it just starts to fucking sprint as fast as it possibly can over towards the like west side towards the river, kind of in the plains. You can see the grass itself as being like pushed down, and this thing is just like
All right.
like crawling very quickly throughout.
It is branded from that.
Okay.
It also cannot take the dash action while it's branded.
All right.
Fuck.
If it attempts to teleport, it has to make a wisdom save or anything.
Got it.
And if he tries to breathe, it just sucks.
It dies. It dies. Go ahead, try.
Try breathing. I dare you.
Right. I'm gonna sprint after it as fast as I can.
All right.
Are we entering
How?
combat state?
Yeah, if we're in combat, I go even faster. So.
Okay. I need you guys to both roll initiative.
All right.
The chase has begun.
We need some good
I can't
chase
tell if
music.
that's a really good or a really bad.
Really crap.
Got places to go, gotta follow my rainbow. Oh wait. Oh, that's not till next level. I was about to look something up, but I forgot what.
Thank you for looking at the patch notes, by the way.
What?
Next level, every time I land an attack, I have an opportunity to knock them prone.
Oh.
So my following attacks, I'll have double advantage.
Oh, I know what I was gonna look up now. I really should. Discord.
That's what I was gonna do. Great point. Good thing.
Search as
Negative plugs.
image.
Yeah, I do like 8 damage per turn.
I'm starting to get pretty gnarly.
I got 4 attacks per round last level.
This is not working.
At least Jerry will.
If I had good
I
dice,
get
I would
6
do it.
attacks.
Crazy.
Per bonus action. What the fuck you just saying?
You heard him.
You say 6 bonus attack? 6 attacks when you take the bonus action?
7 attacks.
All right.
5. Yeah. And then my normal action.
What the? Who's that? Is that Mud?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what did you get? 2?
15.
15? Right. Where the hell's my sheet at?
Next level, though, I get, I can add my proficiency bonus to my initiative roll.
Where the fuck
Not
is
yet,
my initiative sheet? Did I like undo it and put it somewhere? Is this it?
I still only have plus
Yes.
1, but it'll be like plus 7.
Plus what?
It'll be plus 7 next level.
Yeah, you don't. Got plus 5.
I don't get advantage or anything, though.
Same.
That's true. It is true. I have to balance it out somehow.
All right.
What the fuck are you doing? Oh. Bum, 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 bum. Should we switch to the combat scene here?
About to pull out a field.
Oh, we're gonna need some room.
I said it stupid ways. Constantly say what I said normally.
Max distance. No. Brian stuff's okay. My secret lab shirt's junk. Man. It's like falling apart. Secret lab shirt.
Just a skosh.
Shit, you get it. All sit one right here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get one of those. It's an investment.
Oh, leg up.
I can't get that any further.
Use the standing desk party on your desk?
Sometimes. When I don't walk for the day, I tried to use it.
Shit, I don't have a ton of battery left. I have to turn the stream on. I don't know. There you go. I can't be too much further ahead, but oh shit.
I'm assuming he doesn't actually look like that.
He does.
No. I will give you an image of what it looks like.
Yes.
Just have to figure out what book it's in.
Alright. God, I
I think it was
was
as
gonna
well
look something
as.
up again and I forgot again. I don't know.
All right.
I remember now. Oh, yep.
This is what it looks like.
Oh, I like that.
That's spooky.
Yeah, it definitely is spooky.
Irrelevant because it's nothing on here. It's on page 136 of Volume 1. Alright, so when you watch the shot go off, you watch blood splinter from the shoulder as it hits the ground. Once it hits the ground, the splash of blood that you see is not from a wound. It is from it shedding the skin that it has put on itself. It's dripping off the bones. You can see blood is like splashing all around. The body is pretty much left a good 20 or so feet this way to where it's like in between the two of you.
Yep.
He is
still
going
holding the
first.
Yep. What is that? The dog?
Is he still holding the dog?
No, that's supposed to be the body.
Oh,
Or the dog?
No, for the skin.
it's the skin body.
Ugh. Awful sounding combination of words. Skin body.
Look at this.
Just pick it
There's no bones. It's just.
I'm not a fan. Yeah, cool combat we got going on here. Let's get right into it.
I'm trying to hurry this along.
You guys get
There's a big difference between that and what you got
You put
going
the
on.
combat camera on. Hopefully it's working.
Yep. Looks like it's working. It's mainly on that one, but
God, I wish this would work. Yeah. I'm gend up breaking this thing.
oh, you
No.
had it.
It's
Come
gonna
on there, Pete.
it's gonna blink a bunch.
Wait, go back a little bit. Don't dodge it. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, holy shit, that's great. No!
Wait,
Yeah.
it's back.
Wait.
No, it's blinking because it's trying to. Hold on, I'll sync it. But the babao goes first,
Oh, great.
Bow.
as it does.
Can't dash.
I'm just here so I don't get mine.
Just here so I don't get fined. Son of a bitch. I swear these technical difficulties are going to be the death of me. Lighting.
It's a pretty sad way to go.
As the babao is there, you watch it take its hand up in this kind of curled knuckle and just squeeze, and as it does, the very area around it comes completely black and you lose sight of it.
Oh.
So if you would remove it from the board.
Nice. Darkness.
In case you were wondering,
No bear.
the spell is darkness.
Okay.
Dude, I thought it was lightning.
It's like an obvious bubble that emanates out.
Yes.
I'm gonna take a guess.
After that,
He's
Azrael,
probably
you
in
are
the
up.
darkness.
How far is the river and which way?
The river is a good 10 minutes this way.
Alright. I'm on this is a hill, right?
Correct. Jerry, can you unplug and plug that back in 3 times fast? Go ahead, keep going.
Don't electrocute yourself.
This area is fairly recognizable if I were to come back, like where I'm at.
Oh,
I
yeah.
Find my okay, I'm leaving the gun,
Okay,
the rifle on the ground, and I'm getting on the horse
got it.
and sprinting,
I'm super blinking.
sprinting towards.
Put it on the be right back.
Going like this
we
way?
don't-
So you're getting on the horse, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so you
It's
can
like a
move
bomb
60
when you
feet?
cut the wrong wire, starts blinking.
Oh, can you get within 30 feet of me?
I'm fixing it, I'm sorry, hold on. Cover your
4
eyes.
minutes and 30 seconds, and we only had 5 minutes.
Do you want me to just switch it to BRB real quick?
No, it should fix in like 3 seconds.
2, 1.
I lied.
Oh,
It's 5
that
seconds.
was close. All right.
Hell yeah, brother.
Jesus said,
It
"Let
should
there be
stop
light."
flashing.
Pong. I think he also said pong when he said it.
To black. Go through all that shit. And then Alright.
Can't see us
Oh,
right
yeah, we
What?
only see half
So you
of
get
it.
120? Go ahead and count it out. You can move yourself. I swear I wasn't trolling when I did that.
You could leave that one on and make these red.
I sure can. It's gonna take me a long time.
120.
He's on a horse.
He's on a horse.
You can-
Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it.
Hang on, so if you're riding a horse, let's say, right? Can the horse dash?
Yeah,
And then
but
you
when
take
you
your turn?
when you shoot off of it or take attacks off of it, you're at disadvantage
Well, that's
because
just-
you don't have mounted combatant.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna change all these. There's no point.
And you gotta put earplugs in your horse.
Gotta do what?
Wait, why?
Put earplugs in it.
Because it'll freak the
man,
fuck
this
out.
horse is gonna freak out and not
What number is that?
No.
1, 2, 3.
I mean, it is a nightmare. It's not a horse.
All right.
This is the regular horse.
This is the regular horse.
A nightmare.
It can literally fly. So.
You can see right
and it's
there
on fire.
just this cloud of darkness that has appeared. You do not see the babao anywhere. You have ran on the horse. Anything else you want to do?
I'm gonna draw my revolver and switch the right to that again.
Okay.
Is it an action?
And I do know its locate or direction at all times.
Yep, because of the.
Yeah.
It's an action. I really don't want to waste an action.
The amount of times I've been headshot through smoke, I think you got him, Trump. I'm just saying.
Stupid.
Just use your skills, dude.
All right, Moldrak, you're up.
Okay. I don't think it'll help me, but can I see him with the invisibility at this moment?
No.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna drop it.
Okay.
I'm going to spend an action. I throw the statue into the dirt, and I say Moldrak Jr., and he takes off over top of the darkness, past it.
How high up is it flying?
Probably like 40 or 50 feet.
Okay.
I had the giant owl stats up a second ago. Got it. Okay. It can move. It's got a 60-foot fly speed, so it's going to go 120. It's got keen hearing and sight, and that is what I'm counting on. I myself am going to, for the first time in a while, as I'm running, I kind of jump into the air and I change form into a spirit wolf. I'm going to just move as fast as I can towards this creature.
Okay. Your movement is?
I believe, what is it? Base speed plus 20, and I'm at 40 in combat, 60 feet.
60.
Yep. That works for me. Yeah, I don't know if we have an owl mini. I'll just use a D4. It would have been 120 from wherever the hell I'm at.
I have a very many. If you guys want, can we move this just smaller one back here?
Yep.
Because you can't see shit on the. Where do you want the owl?
Well, he would have been from where I was. I moved 60 to get there, so just move him 60 ahead of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's like here.
Over top of it, yeah.
And you're just 15 feet outside of it.
And I just say to Moldrak Jr., look for the demon.
Alright.
Devil, demon, I don't know.
So
what
he's
it is.
not going into the darkness,
Nope.
he's just above it?
I want him to, because, I don't know, he assumes it's going to move past it, so he's going to fly over top and look at the other side.
Got it. Alright, after that, it is the Babao's turn.
Yeah. Ka-chow.
That was it.
My demon stay is still going for a minute, if that matters at all.
Okay.
So, when I used it, then we waited a few seconds, so it's probably got like 30 seconds or something.
It is your turn.
Gonna continue on the horse. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Direction still that way?
Yep.
That's all I can do right now.
Alright. Moldrak.
I don't know, is the owl just acting on my initiative here?
Yeah.
Alright. He's going to fly forward, probably another 60 feet.
Okay.
And he's going to look for the babao.
So I would also need to know if my ring is glowing.
He's also going to try and
Your
listen.
ring is glowing.
Listen for the babao.
Make a perception check with the owl.
Alright. He's got advantage on any checks with sight or hearing. 2 natural ones. That's cool. I'm going to spend 100 movement.
My turn, I guess I would have said that. Wondering in my head that he stood in there. My ring is glowing. He's close.
Okay. I'm gonna say to Azrael as I'm running forward, should I go in there?
I would be cautious, but he has nowhere to run right now.
Okay. About, can I tell like the range of this darkness? About how big is it?
About sorry.
No, it's okay.
10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40. It's about a 40-foot circle.
Okay. Sorry, there's a lot of stuff. I really should be prepared. He's got good AC. He's got good hit points. Keen senses. Alright. I'm gonna move to the edge of the darkness.
Okay.
How much movement does that put me at?
45.
45. Okay. Fuck. Conflicted. Sorry. I need to choose something.
Was the brand making him glow at all? Before he disappeared?
No.
I'm gonna run the rest of my distance through the darkness.
Alright. Like, straight through?
Yep. I'm gonna try not to veer off course at all.
So you're just...
Straight sprint through it.
Alright.
Final check. It's nice knowing you.
I don't think even this thing could one-shot me, but we'll see.
Need you to make a Constitution save.
Alright. Natural 1.
Alright. On a failed save, the target deals only half damage with weapon attacks that use strength for 1 minute. The target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on a successful. As you run through, you're like sprinting through the darkness, and in like a split second, something like appears in front of you and grabs at your shoulders and is sitting in front of you.
Is it a spell?
It is not a spell.
Okay.
As it is, it grabs up towards your shoulders, and it's like a blink of an eye, like you're charging through, and it just like peers up, and in the darkness you see the blood dripping from the sides of the face. There's this quick bit of a gaze in the eyes that is like this dark black beady pupils that illuminate bright red really quickly and like slam into your face, and you go to like swing out, and before you can even hit anything. Okay. Oh yeah. So it just grabs you like down where you are and does that into your face.
Does it
and then
stop
you go to
me?
like it doesn't like full on stop you. It's almost like as you're running, like you're like halted for a second. You go to react and swing out at it, but it just like gazes at you very quickly.
Alright.
You can choose to like stay where you are or keep running all the way through.
Did it vanish from sight?
Yeah, like you can.
I would have just kept running. I didn't want to stop at all.
All right. Other side. Two.
Advantage on those though.
All right. After that, the Babao was up.
Yes.
Okay. Can I get the mini there?
Is this considered a magical effect?
Let me see.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't, because I feel like I should be able to use my armor for this, but maybe not.
Weakening gaze. It's just the ability that the creature has.
Cool. Cool.
At this point,
Useless.
you see peering out from the darkness Azrael, long bony claws that slice into the back of
hoping it would follow
Moldrak. It's going to take the first hit.
Alright, AC 18 for the Spirit Wolf.
First one,
Got
19.
19 hits.
I'm just going to roll the second one.
Okay, he's got 39. Alright.
Probably not. There's a 13.
Nope.
All right. So we're going to do some damage here.
Yeah.
Take 15 points of slashing damage,
Alright.
3 points of necrotic damage,
Yep.
and you got to make a Constitution save.
Alright. 20.
Okay, that's a success. All right, and after that, you can take a swing back if you want to.
I will. $19.
19 hits.
His AC is also reduced by 1 currently.
His
19
speed is
definitely
0.
hits.
Sentinel.
All right.
So, it's just my bite attack, so D6 plus strength. 7 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
As I
Are your
bite
attacks
him.
considered magical when you're a spirit wolf?
I believe so. I don't know. I mean, it's a fae. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't say specifically.
Okay. You said 9 total?
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, well, we'll consider them not magical.
Alrighty. When you smack out at you like reach back and bite as the spirit wolf, you can't actually see the Babao because it's like in the darkness, but you know that it's like sitting right at the edge and unable to move. Alright. After that, grab it from the bottom. Thank you. After that, that would be Azrael's turn. Because that was your reaction, right?
Yeah.
No one else isn't going to go with the horse, so I'm just going to slide off the horse.
Okay.
Not really caring about staking it or anything. As a bonus action. 5, 10, 15, 20, 20.
The same goes for you. Moldrak could tell you that because right now you can't see it, but you know where it is, if that makes sense. So you can take a shot at it like with disadvantage just because you know it's there. But it essentially was like clawing out of the darkness and was trying to run away, but couldn't because he hit it. Just a FYI. Okay, get here? Okay,
That's the only reason I'm down here.
got it.
As a bonus action, I'm going to use
She's
a
struggling to
blood
get
curse of
sideways
binding.
in the fridge. In the freezer.
So you have to make
Oh, she got the bags. Sorry,
you
go ahead.
have to make a strength saving throw.
Strength save.
I'm going to amplify it, so I have to take a right damage.
Just taking all your space over here.
27.
Half the session anyway.
Passes, so nothing happens.
Okay.
Alright, just fighting demons.
Yeah.
No big
All of
deal.
us, or just
No, just Azrael. One back.
And he's going to take shots, so where he believes it is.
Alright. Gotta make disadvantage. Yeah.
The shit out of
It's
a
safe.
demon thing.
How do you think?
That's still plus 13, 17.
17.
-1?
With the -1, we'll hit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and make
D10.
for this. So I wrote down like what happened
Outside.
so far.
Your neighbor said something.
Oh, John.
Yeah, I didn't even. She said something about toe zipper or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah. Then I turned around and he went through the hole in the fence.
Still blessed.
Double damage.
Alright, so it's 12 plus 6, 18 piercing and 10 cold.
Okay, that's doubled
Yeah.
already. Okay. 28.
Are we all just chilling and drinking stuff?
Yes.
Dope.
You guys are living it up while they're fucking.
Second shot.
Yep.
Oh, that's not
Close.
17.
Okay. Does not hit.
Oh yeah, the dragons that said you had to set them.
Azrael takes the pistol up and the first shot you can hear behind you some sort of like contact with a slight screech. The second one goes wide. The bullets themselves are slightly glistening with this bright whitish tail behind them. There are flashes of light coming from the barrel of the gun as it is in the middle of the night that this is occurring. It makes it even more difficult to see the Bebao. It blends in very well with the surroundings currently.
Fighting in the super darkness.
Alright.
He cast darkness.
You can't darkness in the darkness.
Advanced darkness. After Azrael, Moldrek, you are up.
Oh, I'm up.
Yep.
I thought you went.
Pull him out of it, maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Is his weapon still half damage and everything?
If for strength checks at
Is
the
it
end
just
of your
my
turn,
Is it my attack?
strength attacks. Any
Okay.
damage you do that is like strength based is half.
I,
Pulling might be.
as a bonus action, drop the wolf form.
Okay.
I'm gonna attempt to grapple him.
Alright. Just go ahead and make an athletics check.
Hands equal to D.
25. Oh wait, it's 16 now. 30, or no, 28. Sorry.
Right, yeah. You definitely got it.
Can I
You
move him back?
reach in and feel literally just like bone is what you're holding, but it's like dense and like thick bone. Like the whole exterior of its form just feels like rigid bone. You reach in and grab it, and you feel a claw like reach up and grab into your arm. You have a hold of it. You can do whatever you want.
Can I use half my movement to try and move him back out
yeah,
of the darkness?
yeah, you've got him. You can
Okay.
pull him out.
All right, I'll move the 20 feet or whatever I can back. Yeah.
He's made of bones, which means he can break.
Pull him back here.
The owl's gonna do a flyby attack.
Okay.
So when he does his flyby, he doesn't provoke opportunity attacks as long as he doesn't end his turn within the creature's reach.
Make it a little easier on myself.
So he can make a save at the end of his turn to get rid of that?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'll do that after the. Okay, the owl attack's not gonna hit.
Okay.
Con save. 22, natural 19.
To save?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a success.
All right.
Was this from that?
Yeah, the little ring.
Okay.
All right. That's my turn. Yeah, that's my turn.
All right. Once you reach, you just start pulling back. You can see it trying to dig its feet in, and now that it's out, you see this twisted horn that comes off the top. There's blood dripping from the mouth. There's blood dripping off the side of it, and you can even see, like, on the hand, it looks like there's a piece of skin that's still kind of taut to the wrist because of how fast it bamfed out of the form it was in. The claws are long in this dark black talon look to them. It has 4 toes on the bottom that also have talons to them, and the ribs are kind of like protruded outward, and blood is dripping from those as well. The eyes are dark black and empty.
Oh.
And with that, the Bebao is up.
All right.
Need my rag.
I would guess he's still grand. I hope he's.
What they're fighting is on page 136 if you wanted an image. Because I showed everyone else.
It's not the stat block though, so don't worry about that.
I figured he really likes to do that.
Alright. So, after that, the Babao being up.
Yeah. He grappled.
Jesus fucking shit.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's a sexy beast right there.
God, I'm anxious.
It's got a couple sweet nothings like.
Oh, Willie.
As it's here, it kind of like looks towards both of you. I need you both to make wisdom.
I thought it was
Okay.
Oreo.
Wisdom saves.
Yeah. And even if I'm not.
19.
18?
19.
19. That's a success.
18.
Success.
Okay.
I only got +1. Good thing I rolled well.
Alright. It attempts to invoke some sort of intimidation and scare you, but is unsuccessful in doing so. Meaning, Azrael, you are up.
He's just gonna stand still and raise the gun up towards it
Okay.
and take shots.
You can see it now, so it's not at a disadvantage.
It's at
And you're
advantage
standing
now.
still because you're.
Both of those were cocked. Weird.
Wait a second.
19.
19.
Yep.
Okay, that hits.
Different dice. Oh, excellent.
That's 25 piercing and 8 cold.
Doubled already.
Yep. Second shot.
What?
Oh, what I forgot to do with last turn. With that shot, I'm gonna use the augmentation that the revolver has.
Which one's that?
The con save or whatever it is.
I don't remember it.
Say save.
I will make a con save.
See, it's crazy.
It's 15.
I rolled a 15, so
Okay.
saves.
Doesn't matter. Alright.
Okay.
Second shot.
Yep. The first shot goes through and splinters the back. You hear it screech out as the bullet hits.
22.
22 hits. Go ahead and take that shot.
9 piercing and 6 cold.
+2. God, I have not been doing that.
The cold damage from now on will actually be straight because there's
Again,
resistance.
+1
So when you
with
do this,
enhanced
just remind
weapons.
me.
I have not been adding that.
So don't double that one,
Okay.
just double the other one. I already
+14.
minus some from it, so we're good. Oh shit.
Then bonus action. We'll attempt to bind it again.
Okay.
It's another strength save.
Does that hold it still?
Yeah.
Shit. It's a 7.
Fails. Speed
Okay.
is 0.
Got
Can
it.
make a save at the end of his turn to get rid of it.
Probably my favorite race in this entire game.
Okay.
They are really cool.
I think probably drop the grapple because he's gonna just like stop in place.
Alright.
Or I'll tell him that he's restrained by me.
Got it.
That's fine.
As he shoots, you watch one of the bullets that hits, splinters off into this kind of bright whitish energy from the blessed bullets as he applies the bind on it, and it just wraps all the way around and grabs it at the knees, and then there's just like these chains that are going down to the ground,
That's how
holding
I
it in
imagined
place.
it. All right.
After Azrael, Moldrek, you're up.
Okay. I'm going to let go.
Okay.
I'm going to squeeze the hammer
I also can't take reactions.
and use my lava lash enhancement
Alright.
and take 3 attacks since I now have 4 attacks.
Go for it.
22
22 hits.
for the first one. 33.
Definitely hits.
Last one. Natural 20.
Fuck yeah. Alright.
I'll do the first 2 first. So,
Gonna roll the damage and then half the fire damage.
okay. He also has to make a con save. Or catch on fire. I'll use this.
13.
13. It's a fail. He's on fire. And on the start of his turn, he had suffer an additional d6, and then he can save at the end. So,
Where are the little circles? Yeah, there.
so it's 9 plus 4. 13 points of bludgeoning. That is magical. 3 points of fire, half to 1, I guess.
Yeah.
Second attack. 10 points of bludgeoning. 7 points of fire, half to 3.
Just half the 4 is the higher.
4?
For you guys,
Oh,
yeah.
alright. And then I'm going to switch the dice for the critical. And then this is the crit. Okay, well, 3 doubled the 6, plus 9, 15 points of bludgeoning, 3 fire, halved again to 1.
You could just roll it straight because it's doubled, so it's just 3.
Oh. Right, yeah.
Alright, you take the shield and go to like shove it a little bit, but the chains hold it in place, and as you're like holding it in front of you, you're just poof, 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 reaching over, fire is licking off the backside of it and splashing onto the ground in this like molten lava. You watch a bit of it hit the back of the neck and start to like just pool up and drip down very slowly, like burning it a little bit. You can see a little bit of smoke curling off as well. It looks like it is resistant to the fire damage in some way, but it is still hurting it, just not as much as you would like.
Got it. Alright.
After that, the Babao is up.
Alright.
It is going to...
Oh, on his turn, takes a d6 of fire.
Okay.
He can save it, try to save at the end to, get rid of
Got it.
it. 5, half to 3.
Okay. You watch it, the Babao, take its hands down and just like screech out towards you and start to just claw like ferociously against you. I'm going to do this onslaught.
That was so good.
Practice.
Practice.
So the first attack,
I'm at 19. The wolf's a little bit lower than
first
me.
one hits.
Alright.
So he is, yeah, it's 21 total for that.
21? Okay, I'm just
The
gonna
second one,
use a calculator. Oh, I didn't have the owl attack, whatever.
second one is 17.
52 minus 17. Alright, got it.
17 to hit.
Oh, 17 does not hit.
Okay, so the onslaught ability just fucking sucks. First,
What?
I'm just gonna give you the damage now. So
Alright.
just add that 17 back and I'm gonna
Got
do
it.
this. So it's 13 points of slashing,
Got it.
4 points of necrotic,
Got it.
and you make Constitution save.
Alright. 17?
Success.
Alright.
You watch it go like just wild and start to like swing out towards you. It slashes like 4+ more times on top of the one that hits you, but you just like slam the shield up. You put your arm out and push it back. You throw the knee up to push it down to the ground, but the legs are like stuck in place and its back is just laying on the ground. And then it starts pushing itself up to stand, and you can see it's a little drained from before, like just trying to slash into you intensely. After that,
Make
is
a save against the fire and my
Oh, yeah,
restraint.
Okay, I'll do fire and restraint.
Con.
Against, I rolled 15s for both.
My save is 17, so that probably makes it.
Yeah.
Likewise.
That's fine.
Okay,
He's immune to the save to be on fire now.
got it. All right, Azrael, you're up.
Alright. So I'll open up with the last 2 shots of my cylinder.
Okay.
Yeah. 23.
Wait, was he unbound?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he is. 25 of the piercing and 6 cold.
Okay.
Cold is not doubled. Second shot. 18.
18 hits.
7 piercing and 3 cold.
All right. Take the gun again and shoot. The barrel flashes out. It splinters through. You can see where it hits. It's almost like crystallizing with ice on the back end of it, where the entrance wound is.
Bonus action. I'm gonna use my last maledict and try and bind it again.
Oh.
Okay.
Face.
Strength save, right?
Con. I think.
I thought that one was strength. My bad.
Oh, it might be.
For the strength save, that is 19.
Okay. Yeah.
If it's strength.
Yeah,
If
it's
it's
strength.
con is
Passes.
20.
Then I'm gonna walk
I
to Moldrag as I start. As I eject the cylinder and start reaching towards bullets.
Okay.
Very angrily walking as I walk close to Moldrag.
Got it. Moldrag, you're up.
All right. Oh wait, what is this? Sorry. There it is. Now it's 2d10. That'd be about the same. All right. I'm going to use my bonus action to end the lava lash enhancement, seeing
Got
that
it.
it's not taking much effect. And I'm going to use windstorm enhancement at 4th level.
Okay.
For an extra d10 of damage. I'm gonna make 3 attacks.
Go for it.
And the owl, I'm gonna have the owl swoop in first because I forgot last round. He's not really doing much.
Technically could have done that because I set my speed to 0 for the whole round.
No,
with
the owl
advantage.
missed again.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But my 3 attacks. 24 to hit.
Hits.
33 to hit.
Hits.
32 to hit.
Hits.
So it's. I'm gonna try. So he takes. He needs to make a strength saving throw.
Okay. Fails for sure.
Okay. He's restrained in a tornado of wind that kind of swirls up from beneath him.
Okay.
He takes a d8 and 2d10 of bludgeoning damage
All right.
for each hit.
You might as well just go back to the bells.
Okay. Oh, it's all bludgeoning. 16 plus 16, 32 points of bludgeoning for the first one.
Okay.
That one's cocked. Not as good, but still good. 12 plus 4, 16 points of bludgeoning for the second one. And for the last one, we call that cocked or a 1?
It looks like it's flat.
All right. 2, 7, that's 9, 16 points of bludgeoning for the third one.
Okay. Take the hammer and slam it up. As you do, there's just this like bit of wind swirling behind it. It's almost like a reverse tornado at that point as it's trailing behind, and then once you hit, it follows behind that and then sucks up the babao into it. It's not like this huge
Yeah,
tall
just
tornado,
like-
but
just off the
it's holding up the feet and the bottom part. You can see it like trying to walk out, and a bit of wind just like pushes the leg back in, and it's just holding it up in place as it's reaching down and like trying to scratch down and pull its way out and reach forward. And then as it's up in the air after the first one that you've hit, you just jump up and in the air do a quick like doof, doof, and then land back onto the ground.
Oh, we can move it?
The owl take us.
Yeah, the owl,
Swipe at it?
owl swiped already.
Oh,
Yeah, he rolled a 4 again, so.
After that, the babao is up. It is currently restrained and outside of range to hit anybody, really, that it wants to.
Oh, did his turn start?
Yeah.
He takes a d10 from the tornado.
Bitch.
8 points of bludgeoning.
Bitch.
So 0. Get benefit.
Oh,
from speed tackles
I don't know.
at advantage. Creatures tackles at disadvantage. He's just gonna swing at you with some claws. Or actually, no, he's not, because he did that onslaught ability, so he's inert this turn.
Okay.
Casting
No, I actually think he takes 2.
The ability he tried to do to you before, where he missed the attack, he just like gave everything he had in that bit, so he goes inert for this round.
Oh.
So that would actually just bring it to Azrael's turn.
I don't really have anything to do, so I'm gonna now walk over to buy Moldrak and reload.
Okay.
Bonus action, I don't really have anything to do. So
Range attack is disadvantage at close.
What's that?
So I never understood why a range attack was disadvantage at close.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb to me.
You think I'm gonna miss right here?
Yeah.
It's a little bit different with the bow, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with a bow, with a pistol, I understand. Like you can't miss.
Yeah. I guess that
Yeah,
makes
you
sense.
gotta
The bow,
miss, yeah.
the bow makes sense, but not
Yeah.
like. I mean, the bow kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
It's hard to like really like try to maneuver unless you're Legolas style fighting.
Let's
but-
say, if we're right here and I have a bow, I'm hitting you in the face.
Right.
There's no other way.
Yeah. I feel like it's a lot easier to just like I'm out of the way of the bow than like trying to get out of the way of someone slashing at you. But Moldrak, you're up.
Okay.
Is currently suspended in the air.
Shit that goes on
I
my brain.
read the windstorm enhancement a little bit wrong.
Okay.
I shouldn't have had those extra d10s every time, because once he becomes restrained, the tornado goes off the hammer and goes around him. So I don't know if you want to subtract some of that.
Okay, it'll just be like 20. It's
Okay.
less than what it would have been total. So.
And then instead the 2d10 is for the tornado every time, but I'll just not count one of the, I won't roll another one. It'll
I
just
gotcha.
be 8.
Yeah, as long as you understand it.
Yeah.
We haven't used it yet, so
Did you make a save on the end of his turn?
I will do that right now. Thank you.
Just don't do it again.
It's
17 is what you have to be.
okay. I rolled 17.
Okay.
But what kind of save is it?
Strength.
Okay, yeah, so he's good.
In that case, I'm going to spells. No, that's not really. Does that one make noise?
As soon as this word comes out, I'm fucking get graphic for it.
Ooh, I'm.
Figure out a day.
Okay.
might not be a bad idea to restrain him again. If you can, I don't know.
I can, but I also have the opportunity to hit him as he runs away and make his speed 0 again. And I am worried about failing a Constitution save.
I'm close enough to where every time he hits you now, he'll take 8 psychic damage.
Okay. Alright. I should be ready for this. I'm going to use Paralyzing Thunder enhancement for one of my attacks. I spark the hammer off the shield and lightning starts to trickle up the hammer.
Okay.
And I'm going to take 3 swings at the Babao.
Give me the pop pop.
Yeah, give the Babao the pow pow. 22 to hit.
Hits.
26 to hit. 32 to hit.
Yep. All 3.
Alright. So con save for the Paralyzing Thunder. I don't know if he can be stunned, but
19.
19 makes it. I think he has to make him every time.
Unless it says he becomes immune, he makes it every time.
It doesn't say so.
Yeah, so it just makes it all 3, right?
Yep, 3.
It's even higher. 22.
Alright, third one.
21.
21? Okay. Well, I have it for another round. I still do the damage. So the damage is not halved or anything. It doesn't say that it is, so
It shouldn't be.
yeah.
When you resist, it's just the
Stun effect.
stun effect. Yeah.
Okay, 11. So that is 13 points of bludgeoning and 11 points of thunder.
Okay. That's all.
13 points of thunder and 14 points of bludgeoning for 27.
Okay.
And then the last one, 16 points of bludgeoning and 5 points of thunder.
Okay. Just gonna use the calculator here.
Kill it dead.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's at the point where I don't
All
want
right.
to try to do it in my head.
Okay. You take the.
Owl ski too.
Oh, I'll have the owl swoop in, because
Okay.
why not? A little bit of extra. Got a, got a natural 18, so.
Okay, that hits.
Alright. It does 2d6 slashing. I'm guessing that's non-magical, so. But 12 half to 6, so.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I didn't add his. So it's +1, so 13 half to 6, 7.
Oh, ski, ski, ski.
Owl's doing work. Flies by, swoops down
Flies
and
by.
claws.
The talons dig underneath the neck, and there's like a little bit of blood that starts to trickle out. You can see that the bone is slightly bruised. The shoulder is like kind of cracked right here, where it's not able to move very well. And when it goes to claw with the right arm, is like throwing its body into it. There is this dark black viscous blood that you can see dripping from it. The red blood that
I'm
you're
gonna
seeing
try to
from it
avoid that.
is from the forms that it takes on. That red blood kind of comes through in that way, but its blood itself is this kind of darkish black color. After you, Moldrak,
Yep.
it is going to take the disengage action. And
I think I still make attacks of opportunity against those guys.
with Sentinel.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna look it up just to make sure that I don't, make an attack I'm not supposed to. Sentinel, 5e. Got it. Creatures within your reach provoke attacks of opportunity, even if they take the disengage action.
Okay. He doesn't know that, so he's going to try anyhow.
That's fair, and I can still possibly miss. So.
Go for it.
Important roll.
Natural 18
That hits.
plus 14.
Hits. All right, go ahead
When
and
I'm enhanced. No,
roll the
when I'm
damage.
enhanced, I get a +1. Normally I'm at +13.
Feats
Alright.
gross. Comes with clutch a lot.
17 points of bludgeoning, 14 points of thunder.
Sure, I got like a 7.
I mean, combat is my thing.
Mine too.
As you take the hammer up, you see this look of dread on the Bebau's
You
face.
can revive
It
me.
goes to push you like back and try to like claw away with the arm kind of broken. You take the shield and you just smack it in the back, and at the same time it's like and with the second hit, lay it down on the ground because it's so hard, and it's now getting up at this point.
Okay.
And it is its turn, or that was its turn. That would bring it to Azrael's turn, as it's going to stand up.
Can do.
Point the gun at it as it's laying on the ground.
Got it.
Natural 17, so that's a crit.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Is it still the blessed bullets?
Yeah.
Okay, so
My
double
whole-
it
my-
twice.
All my ammo was blessed.
All my ammo's
8,
blessed
9,
up.
18, 36, 41 damage.
Holy shit.
How would you like to do this as the Bebau goes to get up? It's like,
Surprise, motherfucker.
I just walk up to it and put it's freshly reloaded, so I cock the hammer back instead. And go back to whence you came, when you ugly motherfucker. Pull the trigger.
there's this black splintering of bone and blood. You throw the shield
I
up
have
as
to
it
take a step
splashes.
back.
It goes against your legs.
Ooh.
The arms are still like kind of moving a little bit as it's trying to get away, and then it just goes slunk
I'm
on
gonna
the
take
ground.
some water and rinse myself off. 'Cause I don't want it to start melting my hair.
Stain your.
Yeah. Oh no, don't stain it. God, it smells terrible.
It smells like death. Perfect.
Good shit.
No, I really feel like my speciality
Oh,
is
we are?
getting hit.
The music's still going.
Surprise! There's a second one inside the darkness.
Oh, did the darkness fade away?
Yes.
Okay.
There's like 6 of them, just like.
The babao is on the ground with its head exploded off. Your mission
Do we need to burn
50%
this thing?
done.
50%.
Yes.
Oh shit.
You sent here for a reason.
He's gonna get down on his knee next to the bow and take, I guess some sort of mechanical piece out of his bag, like a tool or something, and scrape up some of the blood. Book flies open to the page. And he smears it on it, and then writes the name, closes it.
It's the wrong whip bow. It just goes.
You watch it happen.
Okay. Do we need to burn these bones as well? I don't know how this works. Should we? Do you typically do that when you hunt demons?
I've never done that, no.
Okay, well, it's probably not a big deal then.
That's why we still do.
Collecting them might not be a bad idea, though.
Yeah. All the other bones?
I'm not sure if that's necessary.
Make an investigation check too.
Does he have anything on him?
23.
23. When you were originally approached in your dream, I guess we could call it, by the entity whose voice you've heard thousands of times before, it told you to seek out the creature and bring it what it has. You look at the babao and don't notice any pockets. There's no bag that it's carrying, but you do see in the center of its chest, where the ribs meet at the sternum, instead of there actually being bone there, it is slightly split open and looks like it can fold and open outward.
Want me to open that up?
I'm gonna take my ornate dagger out and try to, like, pop it.
As you take it in, when you press the blade in, there's almost like this like sound of like a breath being let out, and then you just kind of pop it open. It almost like it's on hinges, just like from this goes, and the ribs kind of open up to reveal an interior of the chest. You can see this almost hardened, calcified, similar to a heart sitting in the corner that is no longer beating. You can see that it's like dark black, and then you can see on the inside there are a couple of bones that don't appear to belong to this creature. They appear to be smaller, like human bones, like of a hand or something. There is a small little locket that's on the inside that just looks like it belonged to somebody at some point or another. And you can see almost buried into the chest itself in a bit of muscle, there is a shard that is about this big, and it is like jet black.
Carefully try to cut it out.
Yeah. When you go to like cut it out, you just kind of pop it and it falls a little bit, and you just kind of catch it. It's probably about the size of your hand when you're holding it. Doesn't feel like anything.
Want a bag for that?
Do you have a bag for it?
I keep bags inside my bag.
Sure.
Small ones. Mostly just pouches for gold, but I can just dump some in there.
Keeps Ziploc bags inside of it.
Why wouldn't you?
After you take that and drop it in there, tie it, set it on your side, you watch Azrael reach towards the back of his head very intently, and then drop down, and his eyes open up. His eyes are glazed over with this darkish black color. There's a bit of red smoke that kind of glazes over it. You see nothing but darkness around you.
Knock this fool out if I have to.
I will kill you.
Been here before.
Why do my friends always turn on me?
As you're sitting there holding the back of your head,
I've been here before.
you can see Azrael, as he's holding the back of his head, actually stands up.
Yeah.
and is looking around. You yourself are looking around. You can hear very faintly Moldrak kind of like,
Hey.
but it's muffled before it
You in
completely
there?
disappears. Well done. Bring to me what you have acquired. When you return to Nasai again, deliver it to the Harbinger. He'll be expecting you. Your eyes fade back to their normal self, where Moldrak is in front of you, like waving his hand.
Oh, can we go back in time a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. When I see his eyes glaze over black, I'm gonna take the pouch off his waist.
Okay.
Does he try to stop me at all?
Doesn't notice.
I've put it in the bag before his eyes change back.
Got it.
Oh, that feels pretty much like metagaming. I'm gonna leave it.
Okay. Leave it at that.
Yeah.
You still have it on you?
I mean, I wouldn't know why his eyes glazed over black, so I'm just gonna leave it.
He isn't. Moldrak's like in front of you, like waving.
You alright? Still with me?
Hand on your shoulder. Good work.
Thank you. You too.
Haven't had this experience like that. Tag team. It's like since maybe the Epoch of Resolution, I think. That was the last time
When's my recollection of that time period?
Oh, that's before me.
I'm pretty sure I have it written down, but
I have a timeline.
What the fuck? It's before me, dude.
Here's a timeline.
where's resolution at? Okay. What are the? Would I know the years?
You can investigate further.
Okay.
But I'm just giving you
All
a
right.
brief.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna keep that to myself.
last time I was with my brother, we did something like that.
Is he still around?
Which one was it?
Yeah, he's on a boat somewhere. Except Amir's helped a lot. Found this piece of shit and found
He is that.
Zeke. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Well, we should. Should we clean up that house before we go back to Orcanoria?
You think?
You know, I don't know what to do to get rid of everything.
And just scrape up the windows, clean up the skeletons.
I feel like it should just be condemned.
Maybe. I could burn it to the ground if you want. And not burn the crop field.
You can put it back to the normalcy.
Oh, right.
I don't know if it's a good idea to inform anyone in that town of what took place,
I don't think so.
but they're gonna want to know why a house is burning.
I mean, we can just burn it and go. I can make sure it doesn't spread.
It's probably a good idea. I have a sample of the blood and the acid. And
Okay.
if you want to take some bones from its actual form.
Yeah, I'll gather some of
It has
them.
like really weird looking bones, right? That like never been seen.
Talon
Yes.
things?
Yeah. The talon, like claw, they're just like gnarly looking claw-like things, like hands, I guess. But the bones themselves are, they don't seem to have any sort of like. They're not like thin. They're probably about this big around, and they're
okay.
very rigid. Like the bone itself, it doesn't have like a smooth outer layer on it. It's more of like a bunch of bumps, like several bumps, and then there's like some spiny processes that come off it as well.
I'm gonna take like 3 of them and just kind of like bundle them with rope and put them in the bag.
Okay. Which bones are you taking?
I don't know. What I would ask him because I'm not sure. So whatever bones he.
I would take whatever is the most unique and unlike anything I've seen.
Okay. Yeah, you can grab like, I guess, an arm off of it if you wanted to do
Okay.
that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
There's a lot of room in the bag at this point, so.
You can see that there's not a whole lot of musculature to the creature itself. It's a lot of like bone and cartilage. There's not any muscle that really like
Could I just
binds it very
take
well
the
together.
skull?
The skull's in like pieces.
Oh, right.
Blast,
Blast
you
the
shot
horn.
it off.
Mhm.
The horn's intact if you wanted to take the
Yeah.
horn.
Yeah, I'll take that.
You can take like the arm off. It's just like you're like sitting there like pulling, and then you end up just like popping it off. There's like a little bit of black blood that's slightly dripping from it. It's very thick.
Can I wash it?
Sure. Yeah.
Did I feel like I seen everything inside of it when I like, cracked it open? Like, is there
Yeah.
any other cavities that could be hiding anything? Or
You don't think so, unless you would like to investigate that
Check its
further.
prison log.
I'll check it.
All right, go ahead and make an investigation check.
16.
16. Yeah, this looks like something that's pretty unique to the Bebao. It's just like a strange little storage on it. Seems very
Kind of interesting.
natural to it. It doesn't seem like it keeps like a bunch of stuff in there. The locket that you see on the inside, when you open that up, it actually appears to be the locket that probably belonged to the individual he like just killed, because it's got all three of the brothers like sitting inside of it. Not sure what he's going to do. Probably using it as some sort of like a treasure type of deal, or some trophy. And then that shard was like rested further back. Seems like it'd probably been there for a little bit.
I'll just grab the locket then. If you see those brothers again, I think whoever he was when we found them was one of the brothers.
All right. Tuck it away and start walking towards the house.
House is gonna be pretty far, right?
Yeah, it's about it's about a half-hour walk.
Half hour.
Yeah. Like I said, this town is
Did my horse run away?
huge. Yeah. Yeah.
Go.
I'm not in a hurry anymore, so I want to go retrieve my rifle off the hill.
Okay.
I guess I'll follow Moldrak. Did you take the coin or did I take it?
You have it.
I'll still follow Moldrak because we gotta be together.
As we're walking towards the house, I'm gonna. So, do your eyes usually glaze over black like that? I've seen you do things, but it didn't quite look the same.
Has that happened before?
Yeah. It happened when you were sleeping and he was watching you sleeping. When you had the dream the first time about this
Well, I
individual.
wouldn't have known if I was sleeping.
Yeah.
I've seen it twice now. Once while you slept.
Did it happen at the temple?
Yeah, and they've seen it do that. They've seen it do that plenty of times. They've seen it glaze over like black plenty of times, but it's slightly different based on whatever you're doing.
Yeah, when we were in the arena, the temple of Urena, same thing happened. When I was, that fucker's name was also in the book. But I can at least rest easy now, hopefully for a little while.
That piece, do you think we should destroy that?
Has to go back to Nasai. Harbinger wants it.
Do you know why?
I don't know.
You think he has ill intentions with it?
I don't even know what it is.
Okay.
It's not my prerogative to ask. And I'm pretty sure I have to go alone because I don't think he wants to see the keepers ever again.
Okay, well, I'm gonna trust that you're on the right side and know what you're doing with that.
Yeah, he definitely said that.
He said that to pretty much Ander and Connor, everybody else. He said it to him too.
Oh, it's
He's gonna kill us if you saw him.
Okay.
You know, he's about to walk right back to him.
Okay.
He's got a good
Listen, your DM.
Yeah, buddy.
I have a. So I am able to do this now.
Get 4th levels?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Shop's thinking he's doing a deed.
See
He's
what
like,
I
ha,
can do?
tricked you. Now I gotta kill him.
Yeah.
Griffin, Pegasus. I don't know what the hell that thing is, but
That's what that is.
that's what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. And a rhinoceros.
Got it.
So,
I don't think we've ever seen a rhino.
I don't think it matters.
It's for
Before we
It's for the great fine graders.
before we leave, could we have like Moldreg like bury the remains of this thing so it's not just laying in the field?
I can do that.
Pretty
Yeah.
sure I just think of the animal and it comes.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So these random villagers that come by.
Yeah. Don't find demon bones.
So they're not
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'll just mold earth and throw the bones in the hole and cover it up.
We'll make it work.
And then when we get back to the house, I will. I'm gonna use mold earth to dig a trench, pretty like a decent distance out from the house, like a ring,
Okay.
so that the fire doesn't spread.
Got it.
I'm gonna use produce flame, and then I'm gonna use control flame to ignite it further
Okay. Bring it down.
and control the burning of this place.
Okay.
And then once it's sufficiently burned, I'll.
Once it starts to go up,
Yeah.
probably like a good 15 or so minutes. It doesn't take long for the whole thing to like pretty much come down because of the material it's made out of. But you can see a lot of people, like lanterns are turning on of like the houses, and they're starting to like move towards you guys.
That's
You can
fine.
see them in the distance to like try and like come
Has
up
it-
and like
Has
put
it
it out or whatever.
gone down at this
But-
point?
But it's pretty much burned up enough right now to where nobody's gonna be able to salvage anything from the inside.
Okay.
So it's up to you guys right now if you want to stick around where you're standing or if you want to try to.
What I'm gonna do is I'm going to use. Can I just do like a tidal wave, but in a bit more of a controlled manner, just to douse it, and then we can leave?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will summon up the wall of water and whoosh, and then I say, "Let's go."
Right, running towards the river.
Towards the river? Okay. You do have water right in front of you too
No,
if you wanted to
doesn't
use
have
that
to be-
because of the tidal wave.
Doesn't
I
have
thought it had to be like a certain, maybe like depth, not just like a layer of water.
It would have filled the trench anyway. So.
Water.
Yeah, you can use that if you wanted to, if that's the intention. The wave splashes down, fills in the trench. You guys just walk forward and bloop, bloop.
Oh, before we jump through, take the necklace out of my pocket and set it on that like wooden stump thing.
Yeah, the post that was
Yeah.
like coming up. Gotcha. Yeah, it's this one.
Thank you, because it's in this one. The spell didn't say any duration. I think it's a permanent day.
Okay. You guys make your way through the portal. For you guys that were just in Arkanoria, you would have had the next. What date do you have currently? That you're on. So we can line
This
everybody
occurred on
up
the
here.
night of the 5th.
Yes.
5 days.
You guys would have
6,
had
4 days. Because I spent 1 day doing the.
30, yes.
Wait, how many days are there?
Zana.
Yeah, so you guys would have had 4 days to do whatever you wanted to, but if you didn't, everybody can just kind of jump up and be on the same timeline at this point. So, yeah, you gotta make the checks for those days. So the last one you would have made would have been on the 31st.
Got money to start new spells?
No, but it's gonna be a lot of
Yes.
money for spells.
It only goes away when it drops to 0.
I have like 20,000.
Yes, on the 5th.
So I gotta make 5.
It's like the night of the 5th.
Can
So
at
yeah,
least
you'll make
start
5.
with the wood stuff.
So,
That's kind of cool.
that's awesome. I can summon a griffin, and it only goes away when it dies.
Me too. Is that greater steep?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Really?
If I learn the spell.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It's one of the spells in the compendium.
Is it?
Astral Mount, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, is that one?
Yeah.
That one's cool too.
Perfect.
You can
The
get
only
some-
thing I think is
Oh, you
that
fixed
one's,
it.
that one's a level higher, and it's only because you can do a
Yeah, mine's-
dragon wormling as one.
Mine's
instead.
4th level.
I can have the dragon.
You have a dragon?
Wormling.
That's pretty stupid. Fuck you. Just completely. I can have a Pegasus.
Did you roll all of them, or did you
Yeah,
just
I
do?
seen the
I just did
Pegasus.
3. I got
Okay.
a natural.
I seen the Pegasus.
Okay. Just as long as you keep track of them, and I can
Yes,
see them
it
at
is.
some point when they're all done.
Yeah.
or you have them somewhere?
Like, yeah, big ol' wings.
Okay.
Wait, which one of these gave me a fucking
Yeah, I
Oh.
outside the tavern, I just kind of
not even gonna use them.
No risk.
I sit there and close my eyes for 10 minutes, and outside the tavern, a celestial griffin appears.
Okay.
And he's just sitting there.
I think I might have left a lightning barrel attached when I holstered it the first time, but let's say I never did that.
Yeah, you would have undone it or whatever. You could have just like kept it in and like
gotta
twisted
name
it out. And
I gotta name the griffin.
that way the thing is in there.
Griffin the Griffin.
Yeah, just spelled it.
Peter. Peter the Griffin.
I don't like it.
Oh God.
Stewart.
Okay, at this point, everybody would head up in the reprieve for you guys to discuss whatever may be next.
It was pretty late when we found him.
Yeah, so they'd probably be in the reprieve, like, because it was probably 9:30, like 10 o'clock, and it was just like dark, especially because it was like raining and everything, so it wasn't like super late. I'd imagine everybody would probably just be in the reprieve. You really had to go and fuck everything up over there, did you?
Doing everything. I'll fix it. Don't
Do we
worry.
have to pay on the way in?
No.
We're doesn't matter now. We're still high priority. Nice.
Griffin 174.
I guess I'll get in the reprieve and get like a drink and some like bread or something and go to bed.
You pass a griffin on your way in.
I like that. It.
Yeah, Skip is on the outside, and you can see a griffin. It is.
Like
It
glowing
has pretty
yellow.
much the form of a griffin. It looks like it's feathery and such, but it has like the eyes are just like this bright kind of yellow color. The wings themselves, like at the end, have a little bit of like this yellowish kind of sparkle to them.
It's the
Uh,
components with us.
Do you need components for the spell? You need
No,
a,
no, just a 10-minute.
I didn't think you did.
Yeah, just a little 10-minute thing I gotta do. That's it. Do you mind
Yeah.
if I use this for this? 'Cause
Yeah,
most of my,
whenever you,
my
whenever
stuff will
you're-
be in here, and I'm only gonna use the 4th level for that now.
Hi, Skip. This is very cool.
I just figured I could do it now.
Yeah.
Figured out, I should say.
Oh, be a good time.
I
Yeah.
had a feeling in my bones.
Can it put its hoof on the magic circles to teleport?
Yeah, I can tell it to. I tell it to put its paw on Moldrak's head, and it just puts its paw on your head.
It's a talon.
Yeah, it's big ass talons on your head now.
Cool.
Yeah, it
Very
takes it
cool.
off.
Both paws.
It I can communicate with it telepathically for up to a mile,
Oh, okay.
and it's kind of dumb. It only understands common.
Then maybe I shouldn't call him dumb. It's pretty good.
He literally doesn't care.
Okay.
See?
Alright, I'm gonna go inside. I'm hungry and tired.
Is there like a stable that I know of, like a griffin stable?
Take him in your
No.
room.
I just walk him in the front door. I'm on his back.
Griffin's outside, please.
Okay. I just tell it to wait there by the back door, and I go in.
I don't know if they're allowed in there. Don't listen to me.
Horse
So you guys
eater,
make
dude.
your way in though.
That's fucked.
Anders, Arvex, Neris, Connor are all seated. Skip makes his way in as well.
Just gonna get myself a pig, eat, and go to bed because I'm tired as hell.
Alrighty. And with that, you guys find rest and everything within the reprieve. Some things tacked off the list of what to do, and a couple more things put on. We will pick it up there next week. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for coming.
We will be back at it again next week, so be sure to
Adios,
tune in
amigo.
again then. Thanks again. Take it easy.
Adios, mi
Au
amigos.
revoir.